Welcome to Eastern Creek for a big day of motor racing, the Winfield Triple Challenge. Touring cars, motorcycles, and of course a little later on this evening, the drag cars will strut their stuff. Well, joining us to call the touring cars, Wayne Gardner. Nice to have you aboard. Gee whiz, this looks like a good race. For Ford, Seaton's record here is unbeatable.
Well, Glenn is virtually unbeaten, but, you know, the season ended with the Commodores in favour towards the last year, and now the Ford and Falcon have worked very hard on their aero package, and they've come back, and now Glenn is on pole position. So it's only a small field, but a real quality field, and I really would like to pick a winner out of that.
Pity we haven't seen you out for the first time, but that's to come.
Certainly is. Next race.
Barry Sheen, the motorcycles, the 250s are great here, but the Superbikes, they're sensational at the Creek.
Oh, yeah, they always are. It's just a little bit sad this time that, well, one thing, we've got Matthew Mladen back from, you know, not a very good year in Europe. Got Trevor Jordan back from Malaysia. It's just a little bit sad that they've had a bit of an argument with the Honda camp in that they've made the restricted carburetor inlets, etc., etc. So I don't think you'll see the Hondas go as good as they could do. But as you said before, you know, 250 race, that is my favourite. You know, when you consider that guys like Troy Course and Matthew Mladen, virtually everybody in their auntie starts in the 250 production class. And if you can pick a winner, you're a better man than I am, Dazza.
OK, there it is from Basil, the Wollongong Whiz with us too. Big day of motorsport to come up. Let's check out the grid for the first race for the Group A's.
Glenn Seaton on pole position again with the Peter Jackson EV Ford with a #1 plate. Next to him, in fact, Glenn hasn't dropped around yet since his series has begun. Next to him is Mr. Nice Guy, Jim Richards, in the Winfield Commodore.
AJ Allen Jones sits in behind the boss Seaton, then Mark Scaife, who was the quickest earlier in the week but dropped off the pace slightly when the real practice started. Larry Perkins, Bathurst winner, ready to go alongside Reed. Then there's Pearson, Finnegan, Waldock back in a good-looking car too. There's 5 cars here within 7/10 of each other, so this will be a real battle. That's the view out of Larry Perkins's car, the Holden Commodore, and we'll get some pretty good shots out of there. And look at the crowd here at Eastern Creek. Blue skies, plenty of sunshine. Oh, they're having fun in the sun at the Creek. Wait for the big boys to come out to play. Massive crowd here, fabulous to see. And plenty of action, motorbikes, motor cars and drags a little later on this evening. And Wayne, it's great to see them turning out on a day like this at the Creek.
It certainly is, particularly this early in the season. You know, most teams are sort of trying to get ready, and so there's a good quality field there. It will be a little larger later on the season, but it's a good field, and I think it's going to prove to be spectacular racing.
Glenn Seaton has just been sensational. He won here in a Sierra, he's won in the Falcon. He's never dropped the heat, as you mentioned, off the top of this race, and he really just loves this place, and this car suited. Now, talk to us about the new wing package, because that looks interesting, particularly on the front spoiler.
Well, the Falcons have done a lot of work over the Christmas break, and you can see on the front of the spoiler of the car there now, they've got little tips. That's to give it a lot more downforce on the front, and obviously also to balance that out, they've got a bigger rear wing, as you can see there on the entry to the corner. It's similar size now to the Holden. There was a lot of controversy over whether they should have it or not, but it's been approved by CAMS now, and obviously what happens is it gives the car a lot more downforce. By the front corner tips there, you can see they protrude out from the bumper and obviously from the bigger rear wing. So I think the Falcon's going to be a pretty tough package to beat in this race, particularly with Glenn driving.
I know you're going to be running Holdens in the touring car series throughout the year. I think it's a fabulous move, though, to bring the Falcon up to the specs, because really Holden's won, I think, 7 out of the last 8 races. I know Ford's had the jump at the start of the year, but now the whole package looks better balanced now.
Well, very much. There wasn't a lot in it. The Holden's probably had 2 or 3 tenths on it, and now with the wings that they've allowed the Falcon to have, they've probably picked up 2 or 3 tenths. So I think it's going to prove to be a very, very tough and competitive season, and I really would not like to choose a winner out of all of these.
Well, of course, these are only heats, and this is race 1, 5 laps. And very important you finish in a good position. The grids are drawn off for the next one. That's Glenn Seaton, the baby-faced assassin, as they call him. Looks so young, so experienced, and wants to retain his proud record here. Jimmy Richards, almost the best consistent driver in Australia in touring cars, in any condition. Waiting for the start. Reds A little creep from Richards. Green, that's all go. Richards off the line. AJ, Alan Jones up the inside with a great start. Oh, AJ came from nowhere. Got it down and leads him into the first corner. The crowd pretty happy about that. Seaton comes in behind him, and then it's Jimmy Richards. What about AJ off the line?
I think it must be that weight loss program AJ's been on, because he's certainly quick off the mark, and he's got the head down, and he's looks like he's trying real hard, so he's leaving black marks everywhere, so he's pushing real hard on the first lap.
Oh, he said before the start of the race, I'm feeling good, Daz. The car's feeling good. He was very happy with it in race trim in the warm-up this morning, and he made a great start. You don't take Jimmy Richards off the line from pole that often. He came from the second row behind the boss.
AJ's pushing real hard. As I said, he's pushing hard on the first lap. He's actually made a bit of a gap on Glenn, and the two Falcons have actually slipping away a touch from Jimmy, so it's not over yet. It's still a long way to go, but AJ's certainly pushing real hard early on.
Well, there he is, the former world champion. You can see the brake locking up pretty dramatically there. He's really throwing it around. He loves this car. He loves it. He said it slides and it does all the things that he likes a motor car to do. Plenty of dust from the back of the pack. No worries. They all get through, though. But AJ likes the V8s. He loves the grunt. He likes the instant power. And he doesn't mind the car moving around.
No, AJ likes to work the car real hard, work suspension, where Glenn's a little bit more conservative. He's a lot more smooth than AJ, but AJ gets the result, so it doesn't matter what type of driver it is, it's the result that matters.
And AJ, plenty of support here. The crowd in front of us stood up as he leads them around through the left-hander again. Glenn Seaton behind him. If anything, I reckon he's made a couple of metres on Seaton again. The Winfield Holdens tucked in behind, but, well, they can't do much about the Falcons at the moment. They're running 1 and 2. So it's Ford 1 and 2, Holden 3 and 4. That's looking from Mark Scaife's point of view. Car number 2, the Holden Commodore, sitting in behind Jimmy Richards and also Glenn Seaton. And there's the gap actually from 4th back into 1st place. So one little bit of mistake here and you get swallowed up pretty quickly.
It certainly is. You know, this is what it's all about, is trying to keep it nice and clean and tidy, not get it too sideways, not burn your tyres up. Obviously use as much track as you can. A couple of guys are using even the curbs, and that's what you have to do these days to win these races and also preserve the cars.
Well, wonderful start from Alan Jones. He was sitting in behind Glenn Seaton on the second row, just blasted up the inside. Now Richards starts to close in on Seaton, so Richards getting a little bit closer.
I think this is what it's going to happen all season. I think this is how close it's going to be all year between the Ford and the Holden. And I think this is a great opener for the season, and believe me, it's going to be a tough series out there. In fact, I'm getting rather nervous sitting here watching it. I wished I was out there.
And of course, a new team owner in this year's Touring Car Series. That'll be Wayne Gardner running 2 cars. He and Neil Crompton, and lots of details to come out shortly.
That's right. Our press launch for our team is on February 16, and our first race will be at Amarillo on February 27. So Neil and myself are looking forward to the season, and hopefully we'll come with a big impact.
I can tell you, folks, this team is big time. He has not spared a dollar. It's going to be worth waiting for. Okay, there he is, number 1, unbeatable so far in this Winfield Triple Challenge Series since it started. But AJ's got his cash today so far in Heat 1. Glenn Seaton running second to Alan Jones. The 2 Peter Jackson cars out in front. The 2 Winfield cars trailing them. Jimmy Richards throwing it around. Well, he doesn't throw cars around, he just glides them around. Larry Perkins looking from his point of view. And it's Jones, Seaton, Richards, Scaife and Reed.
You can see there Larry using all the curb. He's got the inside wheel up over the curb. That's quite easy to do, because what happens is you're turning in hard. Obviously the weight comes off the inside, and the car doesn't actually jump over the curbs, it glides over it, because all the weight is basically transferred to the other side of the car. So it's a good thing to do, and you can use more track that way.
He's back in 6th spot at the moment, Larry Perkins, which is a bit unusual for Larry, but there's a lot of heat in this circuit today. It's a very hot day out here at the creek.
Well, that also plays on part of the tyre choice, because, you know, if you choose a too soft a tyre, obviously it works good early in the race, but as the race goes on, and particularly if it's a hot day, then the harder the tyre, the better it is. So tyre choices are very, very important, and also the weather conditions.
Lap 4, you're riding down the main straight there with Larry Perkins. Bathurst winner. What a popular win that was at Bathurst too. You can see the line getting changed as Larry closes in. What's it like taking a touring car to that left-hander?
It's pretty hectic, you know. You've got to force yourself in there and you've got to rely on the car.
Perkins has a look on the outside. I don't think he'll make it from there, though. No.
No, that's pretty hard, difficult pass to pass here. But at the end of the straight, it's fifth gear. You brake reasonably hard, but you've also got to carry some speed through there. So it's a very difficult corner. If you can get it right, it certainly picks your lap time up a lot.
I'll ask it another way. What's it? Oh, up we go. Car number 3 gone. Absolutely gone. Steve Reed has the big lose, and Larry just got underneath him. And Steve Reed, that's a shame, because G tries hard, Steve Reed, in this team. They really do. They don't have the money of the big factories, and they really do try very hard.
Well, for a private team, they're very, very competitive. So,
well, here, let's have a look at it again. Wayne?
Yeah, well, Larry's gone up the inside, and he's probably given him a little bit of a touch there, and obviously it's enough. Yeah, see, he's touched him. Larry's front indicator pushed him round and he's lost it. There's little Steve could do there, just hang on to it and obviously try to avoid a wall.
Yeah, bad luck for Steve Reed. This is lap 4 of this event. Alan Jones still in front. I'm going to re-ask that question again as they come on the main straight. You've just told us what it's like to go down the touring car. What's it like to compared to a touring car to a 500?
Well, 500, your heart's probably more in your mouth. The touring car's a little bit easier and a little bit probably not as frightening, but a 500 around that particularly fast corner at the end of the straight is certainly not a pleasant thing.
You're a rare breed, Wiz. You've done them both. There's not many that can boast that.
No. But it's a lot of fun. Obviously, driving touring cars is obviously not as dangerous, and it's still a lot of fun. And for me, it's just a new direction and a new future I've set myself.
Mark Scaife following Jimmy Richards, his teammate. There they are, the 2 red cars. Final lap now. Well, this is a shake-up because, remember, grid spots hinge on how you fix. And look at the start that Alan Jones made from the second row. What's it going to be like from the front row? It was a bullet start. Scaife trying to improve the position. Takes on Jimmy Richards. Just can't get there, though. He knows if he can improve his spot, he'll get a better start. They're racing, these two, no doubt about it. Scaife comes over the top of the barrel. He get the line. I think he will. Yes, he gets under Jimmy Richards. Well, there's no love lost here because they're fighting for a grid spot for the second race. So Mark Scaife bumps himself up one. Jimmy Richards, who started on the outside of the front row, has been blasted back to 4th. AJ still leads from Glenn Seaton. Now Mark Scaife in 3rd. 4th, Jimmy Richards.
AJ's actually just walked away. He's made a gap on Glenn, and he's driving very tidily, looking after the car, looking after the tyres. That's what a world champions do. He's performing very well, and it's a well-deserved win.
Comes down the main chute now to take the checkered flag. He'll be absolutely delighted, AJ. Honestly, he just loves driving these touring cars, and he just said, Glenn Seaton has given me equal machinery to drive. I can't ask for any more than that. He will be over the moon. Results now, Group A touring cars, race number 1. AJ Alan Jones in the Falcon. Takes the big points from his teammate Glenn Seaton, also in a Falcon. Mark Scaife in the Commodore 3rd. Jimmy Richards came in 4th, and Larry Perkins a fighting 5th. Pit side, Barry Sheen here with a race winner.
My hero, AJ. How about that? Second row of the grid.
Well, Baz, I've always been your hero. You know that.
Somebody, Wayne and Darryl were saying it's the new Jenny Craig weight loss program you're on.
Well, there's a free plug if nothing else. No, I mean, I'm concentrating on getting my fitness right. And although I went to America for 3 weeks and had the old famous donut breakfast and everything, so I've put on a couple of kilos, but I'll get that back off again.
Yes, I was watching the race, the ultimate ex-Formula One professional, really.
Well, you're only saying that because it's true.
Best of luck, Ace.
Okay,
how's the second one? Tyres all right and everything?
Yeah, tyres felt pretty good, actually. The whole car felt good. It's a bit of a worry. You know, it was a bit too easy. But I'm sure it's not going to be that easy all day because it's going to be down to who's got some tyres left at the last race. That's what it's going to be all about.
Best of luck, AJ.
Thanks, mate.
There he is, the race winner, Alan Jones, first up. Wow, what a beauty. We'll be back at the creek with lots more action for Heat 2 right after this break. Stay with us, Australia.
Spend spend an hour with the world's most fascinating women.
You look terrific.
So do you.
Here they are, the Group A touring cars race to 8 laps this time around, 3 more than the last time they fought just a few moments ago. And let me tell you, they've only had about 7 or 8 minutes in the pits to work on the cars. And we'll talk about what they've done. It's quite interesting, really. Haven't had a lot of time. And the man that won the first heat, Alan Jones, he was pouncing around like a caged tiger. AJ's on the prowl today. He's got plenty of growl going. And he'll take pole. Remember the start he made in heat 1 from the second row. Glenn Seaton, he'll be there too. Mark Scaife and Jimmy Richards. That's the front row. Perkins, Jones, Finnegan, Reed, went so well, had to spin. Heffernan, Brown, Ellery. But all the focus is on this Ford and Holden battle. And Wayne Gardner showed you the new spoiler on the front of the Ford. You can see the little tips there that really is working very well. It's first time out in anger here at the Creek. So some amazing work from Alan Jones. She's pumped up, Wayne. You can see him prowling round the pitch now. All of they've done to the car is virtually rotated the tyres as we would do in a normal service.
Well, that's right. Obviously, the rear tyres work extremely hard around here. So they've put the rears onto the front and put the front tyres to the rear, which are a lot cooler. So that obviously it's going to get more grip over the consistency. Obviously, 8 laps, they're going to get better lap time. So it's a smart thing to do.
There wasn't too much fussing around the cars. Not sure about Larry. They put a little bit of tape on him to where he collided with Reed in heat 1. That'll be the view you'll have from Larry Perkins' Holden Commodore. But this new wing package with Ford is certainly very effective. And that's the rubber that Alan Jones left from that very spot that you're looking at the Commodore there. What a start he made in heat 1. Wow. Off pole this time.
It'll be interesting this time to see how AJ gets off the line, because second row is always a little bit easier to get off them. You can actually creep a touch. So
waiting
good
for
to
a
watch.
start. Alan Jones on pole. Glenn Seaton sits beside him. Away they go. Jonesy puts it down again, but look at the Commodore. He's done exactly the same thing that Jonesy did in heat 1 and gets him too. And the crowd here are gone mad. The crowd here are gone mad. A Commodore leading this time round, and it's Mark Scaife. Mark Scaife blasted away.
Yes, he had the inside line there, so obviously that's the best line in the corner. He couldn't be taken out wide. The others try to go around the outside, but it's virtually impossible. So I think this is going to prove to be a great race, because obviously the Fords pulled away and made a good gap to the first win in the first race. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get by Scaife.
Well, Mark Scaife out in front of Alan Jones. Glenn Seaton, look at Larry Perkins, car number 11. Larry's up in 4th. He really got busted out of the first heat, not this time round. That's the view you've got, riding with Larry Perkins here at the Creek, chasing the Fords.
Yeah, you can see they use all the curve there. AJ's pushing Scaife real hard at the front. He's looking for gaps, but Scaife, he's not going to let him. After the first lap, they'll probably settle down, and it'll start to pan out to see what happens. But Scaife's trying real hard. He's trying not to let open any gaps there for AJ to stick his nose in.
Amazing stuff here. You can't get any closer than you got him at the Creek the second time around. I think they learned some lessons in race number 1, because the Commodores look a bit sharper. No doubt about that. The Falcons really started to run away in heat 1. That was over 5 laps. This is over 8, so a different story. It'll be interesting to see the drag down the straight. Here we go. The crowd up in front of us. The Holden holds its power. Mark Scaife will go through. The left-hander still in front, though. Oh, what a race.
In fact, it looked like the Holden had a little bit top speed on the Falcon. It's a narrow body shell, but sits a bit taller in the wind, so I don't think there's a lot in it, but it could be the Holden's got a little bit more power coming from the Chev engine.
The Winfield Triple Challenge champion, Glenn Seaton, not beaten until AJ did it just a few minutes ago. Well, he's bumped Jonesy back into 3rd spot, now chasing Mark Scaife. Seaton unleashing his bit of power this time round. But Mark Scaife, for the Winfield team, holding them out at the moment. How close can you get? Not much closer than this.
No, Seaton's looking for gaps everywhere, so I think he's doing a little bit easier than Scaife. Scaife's probably holding him up a touch, but I don't think there's a lot in it. Glenn is pushing real hard, and AJ obviously on his tail. Out of these three, I really wouldn't like to pick a winner. I'm not sure if Skate can hang on to it.
Looking at now, the Holden and the Falcon, as we've seen the Holden being a little bit more competitive this time round. What are you looking at in overall for the first time that you've seen the cars this year together?
Well, you can see, you know, with Ford with the new aero pack, they're certainly a lot more competitive and they're a lot more sharper and direct. But I think the Holden looks like it's still a little bit more power, but the Ford's still a lot wider car and it sits flatter on the road, where the Holden's a lot more narrow, but also penetrates the air and top speed a lot better.
Mark Scape out in front, blasting his way round the creek. And look at the Fords here. We go with a big drag down the start-finish line again. The crowd love this. Up they go in front of us. We've got Ford sitting at one end of the stand, Holden on the other. They're loving it. But Scape holds out Seaton still second. Jonesy losing touch a little bit in third this time round. Won the first heat with a lot of dash. Lap 3, 5 to go. Glenn Seaton climbing all over the back of Mark Scape and the Commodore. You can see the different line there. The Commodore slightly wider, just lets the tail drift out. Seaton, though, tucked in behind him. One mistake here. Can't afford even a little bit of a slip. Lots and lots of pressure. The first time out this year for the Group A cars, and what a season we've got ahead of us.
Right now, Darryl, I think looking at the two cars, the Ford versus the Holden, I'd say the Ford's looking a little bit stronger. It sits flatter, it's more directional, it's not using as much road. At this particular time, I'd say that the Ford's looking a little stronger, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see Glenn actually take Skate. It's going to be tough by him, but it's going to be interesting. Jonesy
locking up the front, the inside front. Did you see that? Locks it up. Comes in behind Seaton, so Jonesy's sick of this. He wants to move up one or two.
I think this also indicates how tough a year it's going to be ahead for all the touring car teams. You know, if this is how close it is, it's certainly going to be one hell of a fight all year.
Well, I know at Whitewater Sports we've shown you the English 2-litre series and it's been fabulous, but I tell you what, so are these things. Look at the grunt. Listen to the noise as they come down the chute. Listen to the crowd. Oh, they're loving this. Everybody's loving it. Hold it out in front of Commodore. Hold it out in front of Ford. At the moment, it's still Seaton second. Jones has a little look to run up the inside. Can't do it. Goes a little wide. You can see Jones, he's trying to set himself up for an inside pass.
Well, that's right. He's thinking 2 or 3 corners ahead where he can actually get either Glenn or Skate. But, yeah, look, he's having a look there. He just nut back in, so he just can't quite do it. I think the Holden's got the speed on the straight. He gets away enough then to make a buffer. But it's going to be tough for Glenn to get around. I think he can do it, but just where? He's trying to work it out.
Well, Seaton gets very, very close to the Commodore, but Jonesy, he's all over the back of Glenn Seaton, so obviously there's no team orders. They're out there to race these four. No doubt about that. Larry Perkins doing a good job. He's hanging on this time. Got left behind in Heat 1. No doubt about it. He's holding on this time round. Skate, though. Mark Skate. 2-time Bathurst winner. There's the look out the rear end.
You can see off that corner, the Holden actually jumps off the corner a little stronger. And but on the corners, in the corners and steering up to the corners, the Ford's a little stronger. So, you know, I think it's going to be a tough year, and you can see there's not much between the two cars. And in fact, 5 of them are all bunched up and pretty close together. So I wouldn't like to pick the winner out of this. I think it might get a bit pushy and shovey a bit later on. There could be a few spins.
I had the pleasure of seeing the British 2-litre cars race in Wellington, New Zealand. I tell you what, they are spectacular. They're very good, but they're quiet. They don't make the roar that these things make, the V8s. They're not as spectacular watch as these things. They are great here in Australia, the V8s. The crowd just loving them. Look at the crowd here today.
Sorry, Darryl, there's nothing like the sound of a V8. I mean, they sound fantastic. They've obviously got 600 horsepower, these big V8s. They're 5-litre. There's nothing like driving them as well. Being rear-wheel drive, they're a pleasure to drive. They're a real good fun car.
No doubt about that. The dust is flying here at the creek. Well, Skate still out in front of Seaton, from Jones, from Richards to Perkins. Someone's going to have to pull a desperate, I think, because they're so evenly matched, these cars. It's just so hard to get away round.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what Cams have had a real job on their hand about, trying to basically make it equal between the Fords and the Holdens, and it's down to the drivers to see who can win a championship out of that. And I think Cam's have done a good job trying to basically make everyone on equal terms.
What we've seen today, there's no doubt about that. Not a struck match between the two makes. Little puffs of dirt, they use all the track. Now Seaton, you can see he's trying to work out just how he can hustle and muscle his way past to Mark Scaife. But Scaife very experienced these days now.
Well, Scaife will be blocking the corners as well, running up the inside tight so that he doesn't give Glenn a chance to rush up the inside. Obviously, the Holden's got the speed on the straight. Glenn pulls out into the cool air there to get some cool air to the engine, cool it down. And obviously, he's working now to a plan to try and work out where to pass him. It's going to be tough, but I think he can do it.
On lap 6, the speed of the Holden Commodore against the Ford down the main straight. Another good win to the Holden that time around, but Seaton now closes right up around this part of the circuit and traffic coming into play. Now this could be important.
It also looks like the Ford's a little stronger on braking as well. I suppose that's probably an added advantage of their new wings that gives them a bit more downforce, and obviously can use a lot stronger brake calipers as well.
Scaife still leading this heat too. They're on lap 6, 2 to go when they go past the checker once again. Jones still hanging on to Seaton. They've dropped off Larry Perkins slightly. It's out of these three, no doubt about that.
And also Jim Richards has dropped off. I'm not sure where he's disappeared to. I think that was him in the background further. He went out wide and touched a wall. I'm not really sure, but he's disappeared off the front pace.
Got to say I didn't see that happen because I was watching the battle up in front, so intense. So Jimmy Richards out of the picture. Well done, Wayne. And we've got Larry Perkins now in 4th, but he's dropped back a little off this bunch.
Yeah, Glenn's looking in all the corners. He just can't work out where to do it. He's doing it tough. There's Jimmy. He's had an off, definitely. Yeah. Looks like a flat front tyre.
Got plenty of dust all over the car, so he's bringing it back home. Down we come again for the second last time. This will be lap 7. Mark Scaife still in front. Glenn Seaton, 2nd place. Teammate Alan Jones sits in 3rd.
Yeah, the front trio have actually pulled away from Larry Perkins. He's dropped off the pace, and obviously he's going to have a steady 4th. But Scaife's desperate to hang on to this 1st place. He's blocking the corners, actually run up the inside, not leaving too much of a gap for Glenn to have a go, which is the right way to do it. You've got to try and protect your lead.
Massive crowd in attendance here today. Very hot conditions. Hard work out there for the drivers. Their first shot at anger for the year of 1994. And boy, what a year it's going to be if this is any indication. Nothing in the Holden and Ford battle so far. A Ford with a new package, a new wing package. Certainly a lot more stable. And the Holden still has that little bit of extra grunt down the straight, as we've seen for the past 7 laps of this particular race. They've virtually been going in on even terms, and the Holden's won its ground each time.
Yeah, Glenn's pushing real hard. You see him lock the inside wheel onto that corner. That just happens when the car, you start to turn in, it gets a little bit of body roll, the weight comes off the inside of the wheel and it locks. It's quite complicated.
Mark Scaife takes slightly a different line with the Commodore there. Seaton probably dropped just a couple of metres, brings it back now. Jones staying in touch. Just waiting because...
Most definitely the Holden has the horsepower in the straight, but that's something that Ford can work at. Ford actually have the cornering at the moment, but obviously during the season I'll work at the horsepower to make it equal to the Holden. So the Holden guys have got to work on a bit more handling and a bit more body roll.
Jimmy Richards takes the other Commodore, the Winfield car, into the pits with a flat tyre. He's just rolling it down the road. There it is. You could see it going down, so whether that was the cause of the off, we don't know. But it's still Mark Scaife. This is the last lap. Glenn Seaton will pull everything out of here and don't ride Jonesy off either. He won the first one in good style. He's dropped back a little bit this time round, though. Final lap. Look at Seaton underneath him.
That's right. Glenn's setting himself up now. I think probably to pass him around into the stock corner, the right-hander. He's looking everywhere, so he's obviously doing it easier than Scaife. So he's trying to set it up and trying to set what's going to happen. I'd say probably the next corner after this will be the one he'll have a go on brakes. Until this
meeting, Glenn Seaton had not even dropped a heat in the Winfield Triple Challenge. Jones broke that up for him, and now desperately trying the brakes lock up. Everything locks up, the head goes down, and look at Jonesy. He's closed up too. It could be a dash from the top of the hill.
Yeah, Scaife left no room for Glenn to pass, so Glenn's going to take, I think, a steady second. And AJ's still trying to grab that second back on Glenn, so it's a tough race. And as you can see, there is no team orders here between the two Falcons.
No doubt about that as they blast their way round. Here they come. Crowd go up in front of us. It's a drag. It's a drag to the line. Mark Scaife will get it though. Oh boy, only a year ago they were booing this bloke when he drove a GTR. Now he's getting a lot of support. Now he's driving a Holden. How times change. Glenn Seaton second, Alan Jones third, and that was a ripper race. Just recapping the results of that great race, race 2 of the touring cars, Mark Scaife and the Commodore took the points this time round from Glenn Seaton. Aboard the Falcon, Alan Jones, teammate Falcon, also Larry Perkins in the Commodore, Steve Reed in another Commodore. And at the moment, Barry Sheen pit side with a winner.
Scaife, my son, great start.
Yeah, it was a good start. I think that third alley's the best off the line. Jonesy's done the job, and there's lots of grip up the inside there. So, yeah, got a good run and then really just had to defend.
What about the end? Bit of a struggle to keep Glenn at bay?
Yeah, it was, for sure. The balance of our car in some corners is much worse than Glenn's, and in other places it's better. So, across the board, we're probably doing similar speed, but if I was behind him, I could probably harass him also. So, you know, let's see what happens.
Look, it looked like the Falcon was better in the corner. It looked like it handled better, yet you had the horsepower down the straight.
What I was doing is I was slowing up right in the middle of the corner and getting on the throttle real hard, so probably that made it a little bit hard for Glenn, and our car probably looked a little bit better in terms of horsepower than it really should have been.
Good job.
Thanks, Jenny. Lovely.
Well, there he is, Mark Scaife, one heat 2. It's going to come down to a final battle in the final race. You can't get better than that around Australia. Stay with us when we come back. 250cc production bikes. Production bikes out on the circuit for the warm-up lap now, 250cc's. This is the first race laps, 8 of those, and they will be action-packed. Don't worry about that. You're looking at the stars of the future. There'll be plenty of names in this lineup that you'll see in the years to come. As I said, warming up the tyres now, warming up everything, warming up themselves. Not that they'll need too much of that today. Plenty of temperature here at Eastern Creek. But Barry, this is always a screamer.
Oh, just looking at the field. Look at the size of the field. Look at that lot. A little gaggle of guys.
Let's go through the grid for you. Rip Crocker on a Suzuki has pole, and you'll find Peter Archer, Paul Young, Chris Synan around him, but there's a lot of bikes here, Barry, and if you're a Suzuki fan, this is a race you're going to love.
Well, yeah, majority of the bikes are Suzukis, either Suzukis or Hondas, and I was just thinking of Rip Crocker. What a great name. That kid has got to end up being a star. It sounds like something out of Beverly Hills 90210, doesn't it?
We talk about our future stars. So many names in Australian motorcycling have gone on to world success have come from this class.
Well, yeah, Mladen rode in this class, Troy Corser rode in this class. Basically, anybody that starts racing in Australia, this is the best class to get in because the bikes are all identical. And at the end of the day, if you can win this, you don't win it out of luck, you win it out of talent.
Okay, so Rip Crocker, the name that Basil likes.
Great, rip. Let it rip.
Plenty of colour too. Good turnout for this team. Looks good. He's taking his time. He's on pole. Just works his way down through the grid now. Comes up to the start line. Set. So Rip Crocker aboard the Suzuki. They're all Suzukis pretty well here. There's the odd Honda in amongst this. 8 laps at Eastern Creek. Last of the field starting to make their way now and grid up. Just a few seconds time we'll be racing. The first dash to the first of the corners. Very, very critical here. Look at this, a full field. Isn't it healthy?
You've got a hell of a job. If you're stuck in the middle of this, like, you've got to get through on the first lap, otherwise you can forget it.
Rev starting to build, waiting for the lights. Ooh. And racing now. The front row got away well. Crocker certainly got off the line pretty well. If he can adjust to the first corner, I think he will. Yep. From there, yes.
That's Crocker, and looks like 49 Peter Archer, second place. Oh, a lot of dirt there. See all the dust coming up. Now have a little look at this first hairpin. This is where you see people doing desperados, you know. Whoa, what? Ooh, see the touch there. He was lucky to get away with that. See some of the guys. Oh, look, somebody down.
Somebody down, two down already, as you predicted. No problem, just a matter of getting 2 bunched up. You can see the riders rushing to the machines to get back on board if it's possible. But the field now comes over the top of the first of the hills here. First lap here, you can see the gaggle. To be back in there, gee, not much hope. But still,
no chance.
Crocker out in front and building a little lead now.
Well, he knows that he's, if he can get a break in this class, you know, and the second and third guys sort of battle it out together, if you can just get a break and break slipstream, it makes so much difference. But you can see here, look, there's any one of 8 or 9 guys on the first lap that can lead across the line.
Peter Archer, you can see now, working his way up. He's done a good job, Archer. He got really right up behind Crocker then. Under brakes, the bike looks good, looks nice and balanced. Crocker, though, will lead them around at this stage. Archer sits right in behind him, and look at the gaggle. It's starting to close up.
Yeah, there was very little time-wise between these guys. And look, I went around the circuit yesterday and had a look at them. And they were so close. You know, there's hardly anything to choose between any of... Whoa! Lost the back end and just was lucky enough to catch it all together.
Well, it's already put him back into third spot now. Bike 96 moving up, and that's Paul Young. So Young in second place. He's now chasing Archer. That one mistake, the big hippy shake, cost him plenty.
He was lucky to get away with that, I tell you, because he just collected it all back together without running off the circuit. Now watch this, watch. Watch the back end gone. Whoa, hang on to it. See, tank slapper. Oh, dear me, give you a sore throat, make your squeaky voice that lot.
Nice bit of riding, though, wasn't it?
Absolutely, self-preservation.
Yeah, really is trying hard early in the race. I mean, it's only lap 2. There's 6 to go. I know you can't give him any start, but gee whiz, he's given himself a couple of hard starts.
Yeah, Graham Morris, number 7. He's one of the older guys, and you've got to hand it to him to sort of mix it with these sort of young 18, 17-year-olds that are out to make a name for themselves, and he equips himself very, very well.
Watch the slipstream now. As they come down the main straight, you can see Young right up behind Archer.
Whoa.
Takes a line inside. Can't do it, though. Archer closes and all comes around the outside.
No, dear me.
Oh, look how wide he's gone, Barry.
I tell you, he was very lucky there because you could see the brown sort of dust coming up. He was super lucky to get away with that. So it shows on the outside of the circuit that it's a lot cleaner for the first race of the year than it normally is. But, oh, somebody grass tracking over the back there. He was ever so lucky to get away with that, Darryl.
That was a big moment. He took the gamble at the end of the straight, popped out of the slipstream, went wide, but just couldn't get back on line. That's allowed Crocker now back in touch with Archer.
You know, Crocker's thought, oh, well, at least it happens to somebody else. He's settling down a bit, but he mustn't ride quite as hard as he was riding, Crocker. Maybe he's settled down a little bit now, but he was definitely letting it all hang out.
So Rip Crocker chasing Peter Archer. Archer knows he's there. He had a quick look. Couple of corners back. He knows exactly where they are. Now, Crocker starts to hound him. He's been good under brakes down through here, but every now and then he just lets the thing get the big wobble.
Understatement there. Wobble.
It was a big wobble.
He was lucky to get away with that.
So it's still Peter Archer from Rip Crocker and Paul Young. That's how they run 1, 2 and 3. They've had a great fight. And I'm really impressed with the way Peter Archer has just withstood all the pressure. He had it from Young, he's had it from Crocker, and he just hasn't been rattled. He's just ridden his own race.
I'm surprised the way they've split from the other lot, really, you know, because generally speaking, this is a lot closer. Now look, Paul Young's got a good chance there.
He'll get him.
Yeah, don't forget he's remembering his excursion
on
around
the inside. Gets him too. Gets under Crocker and goes round the outside of
same excursion.
Oh, dear me.
That's what I thought was going to happen the first time. I was just about to say he will be remembering his excursion, but he obviously needed a refresher.
Oh, Paul Young.
He was so lucky to get away with that. Oh, yes.
Crocker.
Back end on Crocker's bike there. You see, tyres are hot now. Crocker go. Oh no, that's
it's got to come off. Crocker's dropped
that's it. That's oil or something leaking or a puncture, because there was no way that's definitely mechanical failure there that brought him off. I'd love to have a good look at that.
We'll have a look at that after the race finish, Barry, because we're running out of laps. He's A-OK. The marshal's over him. Obviously, he hit very hard. He came right up in the air and slapped down on the track. So we'll look at that and see if we will work it out. He got pretty ragged a number of times, but you can see there, just couldn't bring it back. Well, the pressure right off Peter Archer now. Peter Archer's done a great job since he inherited the lead.
Yeah, see, we didn't get to see him have a look over his shoulder. Maybe he'll have a little blimp over his shoulder coming out of this.
We will have a look at that. We'll have a look at the replay.
See, he's got it. He's
had a good look, but he's way in front of Paul Young. He has a look. Now we're going to work out who's third. Coming up to us now. 93 it is.
That's Chris Taylor on a Suzuki.
Okay, so Chris Taylor now inherits third.
Nice move up the inside there.
Archer knows he's got all the breathing space in the world. But, gee, give him credit. They threw plenty at him.
Oh, yeah, he didn't crack under pressure, did he?
No way. So he takes the checkered flag. Peter Archer aboard the Suzuki, takes the 250 production race. That's only the first. Oh, they'll be out again. Paul Young gets second place. Good race from him. Gee whiz, he was brave. He tried on that very corner, went so wide a couple of times. And third place went down to, who did we say, was Chris Taylor. Now, we'll have a look. There's no doubt about that. We'll have a look at Rip Crocker's accent. There he is there. So he's A-OK. Now, here we go, Barry.
Right, now, would you start looking at the bike as we'll forget what was going on there. Now, as soon as you get a shot of him, have a good look at the bike, see if you can see anything coming out of there. It could be a flat tyre. It's got the kind of look of a flat tyre. Right, now that's a slide, so that could be something coming. I'd say there was fluid leaking from underneath that. I'll almost guarantee it, in fact. If we get another look at it, just the second part of it, I'm pretty sure I saw some fluid leaking out underneath it.
Oh, he really came down hard.
Yeah.
Well, there's bike 51. There's the young man there. He's okay. Bit of water. Gee, they're tough, these guys. They just hit the track. They get up, go back, clean up the leathers and ride again.
He'll be out again because he's got a spare bike.
So Rip Crocker. Here we go
now,
again.
just have a look underneath, just behind the front wheel, and see if you see like a mist. I think you do. Start looking just behind the front wheel. Oh, there was a nasty.
Hard to tell from the
Hard to
replay, but
say,
gee
but
whiz, he came down hard, does.
Yeah, just the way it lost, you know, it seemed like he was having a real traction problem.
So results now of race one. Production bikes, 250cc's. Archer first aboard a Suzuki. Young, Taylor, Morris, Cartwright. That's how they finished. They'll be back later. Right after the break, more motorsport action with supercarts.
On a current affair with
Supercarts on the track, 6 laps. By gee, they come here today in this wonderful day of motorsport in all shapes and sizes and all engine capacities. And these little carts, let me tell you, around here are blindingly fast. Unbelievable. On their warm-up lap, no suspension on these carts at all. And we'll have some pretty spectacular shots from Les May in cart number 20 for you. And that's going to look pretty good. You can see it there bumping his way around the circuit. And when he's in an angry mood, that'll even be more exemplified than it is at the moment. Let's have a look at the grid as they line up. Stockman, he's got the pole from Les May, who's got the onboard camera. Myhill is next, and then Barabas. And there's a big lineup of carts here. If anything, it's a full field here. And Wayne Gardner, thanks for joining us in the commentary box here. These little things are quicker than the touring cars around Eastern Creek.
Well, they are. Obviously, they're a lot smaller, and you know, it's really power to weight ratio. And obviously, they've got extremely big tyres for the size of the carts as well. They're very, very exciting to drive. I've driven a few of them in the past, and they're a real handful.
I can remember a little place down at Dapto that you used to terrorise on a regular basis.
Well, that's right. In fact, I've had my own karts in the past, and they've been a lot of fun. They're very hard to drive. They're very accurate, very sharp, but they're certainly exciting. They're good for driving experience. They're coming around now to line up for the grid. Just warming the tyres up, as you can see, running a bit wider on the corners. But this is going to be a good race, actually. They're very hard to tell which is a 250 and 125s, but it's going to be a great race. It's 2 races in one.
Waiting for the green lights going now. Oh, wonderful start from the outside of the grid. Wow, off the second row, I'm sure. It was cart number 10, just flew, Billy Campbell. Came out of the blocks like a rocket ship. Straight out and into front. Look at the gap he's already built up here. Billy Campbell, cart number 10. It's cart 40. Yes, it is too. Sorry, Jim Myhill. Well, he's still come from way back on the grid. Wow, that was a great start. Now, Wayne, when you look at these pictures here, there's no suspension on these things. There's a lot of movement, isn't there?
Very much. You know, they've got to get the car as low, or the cart as low as they can get it. Obviously, you don't have suspension. It's part of the ruling. And you can see how rigid they are. But the chassis do flex, and that's the only suspension they do have. And they're very hard to drive. You can see in a couple of the corners there, see opposite lock, correcting all the time. So they're very, very fragile and very unique to drive.
Fabulous shots there. Brian Stockman, of course, in 43, running second now, was on the pole position for this race. He tucks in behind Myhill now, and that's Les May. Les May has pulled out some heroics at Adelaide during some of the coverages there we've had of these particular vehicles in action. He's pretty spectacular. Tucks up in beside now, right in behind Brian Stockman. Whoa, this is good stuff. Watch the pictures here as they blast down the main chute.
There's not a lot in this. Now they're trying to draft and pick up his draft to pull out, like he did just there. Dives up the inside. That gives him a bit of a slingshot, at the end of the straight. He's got in a bit hot. You can see a little bit of opposite lock coming off the corner. These are very, very hectic things to drive.
What about Les May at the end of the straight? Just shot across the track. Terrific stuff. Great pictures here from Les May. Back in second place now, and you can see all the vibration. Gee whiz, they work hard, don't they?
They certainly do. As I said, you can see a lot of opposite lock coming off the corner. They're trying to push the front, a little bit too much grip. It's a balancing operation between these. Grip to the front, grip to the rear. Touches the curve on the inside there. He's racing up to the first left here. So hard on brakes. Using all the corner. Opposite lock coming off the corner. You can see the front wheels turning opposite. They're sliding them around a lot. Basically, it's like driving on the dirt, but you're actually on the asphalt.
Jim Myhill out in front. Les May doing the chase. Myhill, wonderful start. Just blasted from the outside spot on the grid there and just ran up on the inside. But Les May, I've said, has pulled off some heroics for us with cameras on board at Adelaide. I think he's going to have another big go today. But at the moment, Jim Myhill doing a fantastic job in cart number 40 in front. And I'd say Stockman must have some problems because he's really just dropped straight back.
Yes, he's dropped off the pace. He's certainly not in view of the camera. Les is chasing hard, and he's trying real desperate on the entries to the corners. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can pull this little lead back. He's pulled in some on the straight, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on to him in the corners and not lose too much. Breaking into this next left is going to be really interesting.
Aren't they great shots on board off the end of the straight? I tell you, he's pretty brave for the left-hander, but so is Jimmy Myhill. He's really been driving this from the front from the green light. You can see him there, clears off a little. Some of the angles there from the cameras get a little bit deceptive, but he certainly is opening up a gap, and there is the gap between him and Les May.
Well, Les actually lost a lot of time. He went in too deep onto that late corner, lost a lot of time going in, but now he's gained it back up. So it's a bit of a balancing operation. He's catch faster in some corners and slower in others. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting race towards the end with Jim Myhill.
Jimmy Myhill up in front, cart number 40, the little black number. Gee whiz, he's showing him a clean pair of heels. And Les May at the moment doing everything he can and throwing it around the corner. Doesn't mind a bit of a slide.
No, in fact, he's very, very ragged, and the whole idea about going fast in these things, being they're only 250s, you've got to keep the things as smooth and as accurate as possible. And the more sliding you do, the hotter the rear tyres get, and obviously then you lose grip and your lap times drop. So he's probably pushing it a bit too hard and sliding it around a little over the top. But,
watch the tyre work. Just watch here. You can see when we go back on board, you'll see the actual tyre working as he's going through the corners. We're on the straight section now. There won't be too much there.
Now he's just drafting him.
Look at this, side by side. Gets him, you're right. Has he got the horsepower? He's certainly got the ticker. Well, it doesn't, but a fine bit of driving.
But it's not over yet. From what I could see from Jim Meyer, he was better under brake, so I think he should pull in a little bit. He's particularly good on this corner, getting out of this. See, opposite lock, he's driving a very, very tidy race and not using his kart too hard, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can pull Les back.
The difference between these two now, the gap between second and third, is 13 seconds. So, I mean, they have just run away and hit these two.
Well, that goes to show you the capacity difference and obviously the different types and two classes of karts in this race. So, and obviously some different levels of driver as well.
Okay, so Les May now, kart number 20 on the last lap. Really starting to fling this little thing around. He's a great competitor, Les May. I've seen him in positions before. In fact, in one race we covered in Adelaide during the Grand Prix meeting, actually started from last on the grid and went on to win the race. He's got plenty of tiger.
Well, I think he's probably in a class of his own. He's a very experienced driver. He has a very, very fast kart. As you can see, he can slipstream the others and pass them down the straight. And obviously he has the talent to drive it as well. So it's certainly a great package, and that's what we say in motorsport, is getting the package right so that you can do the business. Braking hard into the right here. You see the front wheel working very hard, opposite lock. This is how you've got to balance the cars. It's the same in touring cars, but obviously you don't see the extent of that sort of opposite lock as much as in touring cars.
Well, Wayne, John Barabas is now in second place in kart 53. He took advantage of the fact that Jimmy Myhill got that penalty, had to go into the pit, so he's in second place now. But you're riding with Les May, and he's blasting his way down the main straight in this beautiful little kart. And look at the speed now as you come through the big left-hander, takes the checkered flag. Les May, great job.
A very comfortable win, Darryl.
Yeah, well, we tipped him at the start that he was going to be hard to beat. He really is a competitor, and he applies pressure all the time. There's second place for you. John Barabas, kart 53, well done to him. And Jimmy Myhill, unfortunately, had to go into the pits for that penalty. Had cost him dearly because he did lead from the start. So there we go, kart 51, that's been parked. And pretty exciting stuff from the little buzz machines. Recapping the results of the supercarts for you during Australia's Motorsport Spectacular. It's Les May in the Beretta. Gee, that's a good win, wasn't it? John Barabas in the Anderson Mirage was second for a good drive from him, good solid drive. Lord was third, another Anderson Mirage. Then it was Dunn and Finmore in the Stockman. Back in the bow with the fabulous Superbikes here at the Creek. Welcome back to Eastern Creek as the motorsport action continues with the Winfield Triple Challenge. Plenty to come as we look at the Superbikes warm-up for this, their second race. Now, pole position on the grid will be Matthew Mladen after his complete domination of the first race with a win from start to finish. The other riders hoping to get a little closer this time round to the former 500cc rider, Roy Leslie. Sean Giles, Anthony Gobert, and the man with our bike cam, Scotty Doohan. A big field lining up for the start as we await the green light. Green light, away they go. Giles does get away nicely. Mladen, though, really puts the power down to the big quacker, and under he goes, so he'll take it around the outside. I think it's Scotty Doohan.
No, it's Kirk
It's
McCarthy.
Kirk McCarthy.
Referee away, I tell you, that was a brave move.
Holy moly.
That was really a... because when you think of the loose dust around there, that was a good start, to say the least.
So it's Roy Leslie up into second place. And we'll get him over there. It's Mladen. And look at Kirk. He is
Mladen,
really going
Leslie
up.
and McCarthy, that is.
So McCarthy, he is fired up this time around, but Mladen already with a pretty handy lead.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's the difference of making sure you get a good start and not being mixed up with anybody. You know, the vital thing in superbike racing is to get away at the beginning, because if you get away at the beginning, inevitably the guys behind end up tussling with one another. But having said that, Roy Leslie's on board with Scotty Doohan. So the old temperature's up to 89 degrees now.
So Doohan under brakes, fights back.
Oh, what?
Oh,
Not a lot of room there. Dear me.
He gets it up quick, doesn't he? Like he didn't much choice then. Now Gobert has a go at him. He just got unsettled. He really has to get back into his rhythm. Now he comes back again.
Right.
Gobert, I think, has got him. Yes.
There's no incentive like your teammate, really, you know, when it goes, there really isn't. It's one of the touring cars, Formula One, motorbikes, anything, you know, your teammate. It doesn't really matter where you finish as long as it's in front of your teammate.
Trevor Jordan on the other Kawasaki, the other green machine there, is just getting into touch with this group. Matthew Mladen's way out in front. This is Scotty doing, then it's Anthony Gobert in behind him. Kirk McCarthy, and that's Jordan there.
That's Sean Giles. Oh, very wide there, Anthony Gobert. Sean Giles, number 19.
Sean Giles on the Yami now. He wants to join the party. He started on the front row, didn't get the best of starts though, and just down on power bars, really, isn't he?
Yeah, it does look that way. You can see there, Trevor Jordan's Kawasaki is pulling away down the straight, even though Sean Giles is sitting in the slipstream.
He's a terror around this part of the circuit, though. He's in 7th spot. Jordan now wants to go up 1. He goes past McCarthy. Oh, nice move.
Yeah, very good.
So now Jordan also on a Kawasaki on the charge. Watch McCarthy, though. He's a real fighter, this bloke. He'll come back at him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't give up. You know, I remember when he used to ride the Suzuki. Wow, talk about try. Get it sideways and get out of it. You know, good bike control.
Yeah, real fighter McCarthy on 5. Gobert, 23, doing a good job in behind Scotty doing. This is where the real race battle is here. Leslie and Mladen at the moment way out in front. Plenty of slipping and sliding. Lots of action here with the Superbikes. They're a handful round here, but Barry, you like this circuit for these bikes?
Yeah, I think it's as far as Superbikes are concerned, I think it's a good circuit. Having said that, it doesn't seem to produce the close racing that used to get down at Phillip Island. You know, I always remember that classic Superbike race down at Phillip Island. It was such a good one. But yeah, it's a good circuit for Superbikes. Good for little production bikes and good for a Grand Prix.
Now you can see on the straight, here's the Kawasaki, starts to stretch its legs. Comes in behind Scotty Dewan, takes Gobert now. So the Kawasaki just on power. Oh, look at this though. Goes wide and he'll get bumped back about 4.
Yeah, he just stuck her in really deep there and ran wide, you know, and you have to just pussyfoot when that happens because it's just like walking on thin ice. You know, it's so dodgy.
Sean Giles, bike 19, the Yamaha, back into 4th spot. He's sitting in behind Scotty Dewan and reeling him in too. So the lap's starting to count away now, and there we are after 6 laps. Let's check the top for you. It's Mladen out in front, no doubt about that. Roy Leslie comfortably in 2nd. Then it's this bunch: Scotty Dewan, Sean Giles, and Anthony Gobert, and they're fighting out 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot. Giles now closing in, looking hungry to get past Scotty Dewan. That's not an easy task.
No, it's not. You know, just looking at the way the Yamaha's working, yeah, nice move there.
Did it?
Yeah. No, yeah, the way the Yamaha's working, it doesn't look maybe on the brakes. Hear the back wheel. That's just the back wheel pattering a little bit as it's changing down. Yeah, it looks like the Yamaha's working, handling, steering a lot better than it did last year, because that was one of the main sort of problems with it, that it was a bit unpredictable and very difficult to ride. It wasn't a sort of a user-friendly thing to ride. It sort of step out and spit the guys off and stuff like that. But it looks very good. It looks really nice.
Giles right out of the saddle as he came around that corner. This is the main straight area.
Well, Scotty's up to 90 degrees now. He'll be boiling soon.
So Giles again goes through the sweeper and gains some ground on the Ducati. Here's Mladen, cool as you like. Last year with the Kajiva team, full Grand Prix season there. Now back in Australia aboard a Kawasaki. And this is the bike that really started all for him. and he's come back to regroup, have a rethink before launching himself back in the international scene.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, for him to have stayed over there and got another Grand Prix ride would have been a difficult thing to do, because basically after riding a factory bike, the only thing open to him was to ride a private, you know, one of the private Yamaha teams. So, you know, there was basically no choice but to come back to Australia.
Very quick, extremely tidy on this bike, running on Grand Prix Michelin tyres. The big Kawasaki, their famous racing green and white, and they've been so dominant in superbike racing in this country for so long. Sean Giles right in behind Roy Leslie. So this has been a terrific ride from Sean Giles. Barry, he came from way back, and here he is now challenging Roy Leslie.
Well, he obviously gets better as the race goes on, because he had a good position on the grid and then didn't really figure. End of story.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's only just missed out getting here. You saw Milan flash across, and there was Leslie. Gee whiz, that was a great ride. Well done, Leslie, but gee, from Sean Giles' point of view, he came from a long way back.
Oh, yeah, and certainly give himself a good pat on the back.
Matthew Milan, though, takes the win in Heat 2. Gets them both up today. Matthew Milan completing the double. Race 2 for Kawasaki. Full points there. Roy Leslie. Great ride. Wasn't that far back, Roy Leslie, on the Ducati. Sean Giles, again, third place. Gee whiz, a good ride on the Yamaha. Then Scotty Doohan on the Ducati, and Kirk McCarthy aboard the Honda. Now, the overall results are this way. Matthew Milan, overall winner from Roy Leslie. Sean Giles, Scotty Doohan, and Anthony Gobert takes the 5th spot. Now, with the winner is Wayne Gardner.
Matthew Milan, congratulations and well done. 2 out of 2 is certainly a good start to the season. Was there any problems out there?
No, you know, I think it was suffering a little bit from grip in that one. I think it was a lot hotter out there on the track. Besides that, everything went well. You know, we done the same thing, but Roy stayed on me a bit longer then, but halfway through the race I got away a little bit and saved it.
Yeah, I guess that Grand Prix experience is really paying off now. I mean, it seemed as though you were doing it easy out there. I'm not sure what it was like on the bike, but you certainly set a good precedent for the rest of the season. Can you follow up?
Well, I hope so. You know, the next few tracks we go to, I've been to them all, and we know what the bike's like at the tracks. We've set it up for it before, so we've basically got a good setup there for when we go back, and yeah, I'm sure we can carry on.
And you're very pleased with the bike? It's working well, up to your standards?
Yeah, it's excellent. You know, I'm lucky I've got a good bike, and I've got a good team who encourages me a lot. And I've really got my confidence back up now, and the team have been pushing me along, and everything's been going well.
Well, for a first time out, I think you've made it look pretty easy for everybody, but congratulations, well done for winning the Superbike leg of the Triple Challenge here. Congratulations.
Matthew Milan with Wayne Gardner. Back shortly. Stay with us, Australia. Nice to have your company right around Australia for this, the Winfield Triple Challenge, Australia's motorsport spectacular. No doubting that 250cc's production bikes back on for race 2, 8 laps, their final fling for the day. And by gee, the first one was a pretty spectacular effort. Now, Rip Crocker, who sat on pole for race 1 and unfortunately crashed during race 1, has had to start in 45th spot out of 50 on a spare bike. And he really did come down quite heavily during that race. So he's back in 45th, but it'll be interesting if we can somehow watch his progress. It might be a bit difficult, but what a job in front of him.
I was just looking to see if we can see him go. He should go through here somewhere.
Yeah, he's in very bright colours. You can't miss him. It's like a lime green, I think. Right, let's have a look. Peter Archer, who won the first race, will start from pole, and it's Young, Taylor, Morris and Cartwright. Now, there are 50 starters here. There's row 2 for you as it rolls on. We're keeping our eye out here for Rip Crocker. He did lead for some time. Yeah, there he is there now. Right on screen for you on the spare bike with the white colours with the red and lime green. So it's a big job in front of him. And both of these riders, actually, Rip Crocker and Peter Archer, went to the Wayne Gardner finishing school for motorcycle riding out at Oran Park. And they've claimed that little lesson gave them a better look at life through a racing driver's eyes. So there you go, 2 graduates here today that have done quite well.
Certainly didn't do him any harm, did it?
It hasn't hurt him, Baz, no doubt about that. So this poor guy, this Rip Crocker, has got to start from 45th spot on the grid. So now looking at Paul Young and those colours, Spike 96, pretty distinctive. Beside him, Chris Taylor, Bike 7. Looking down there is Graham Morris. And Peter Archer. So
now, that is a
good lineup.
daunting task.
Yeah, look back.
Look
Look
at the
back
field.
for old
Look.
Rick Crocker. Way back there. And here's the pole sitter coming up. Peter Archer now taking his spot on the grid. A wonderful ad for Suzuki Motorcycles, Barry, here, because there's plenty of them. Red lights waiting for green. Away they go. Nice drag off the line. Taylor got away well. Archer right from the outside. I'm not sure if he can get across that bar. I think Taylor's going to hold him out. Now it's Archer, but Taylor, yes. Oh, nice start.
Good start. Oh.
And they all get through. That's good stuff. Young now moves up into 4th place. It's Chris Taylor out in front.
Yeah, really, the most important thing on this, there's little Cartwright. He was so quick in practice, and I don't know what, he must have had some kind of problem in the first race, because he was up the front to start with and then dropped back. But I was watching him in practice really fast through the last little section before you come on the main straight, which gives you the good run down the straight. So hopefully we're going to see him start the front now.
Gary Cartwright, bike number 8. We didn't see much of him in the first hit, as Barry Sheen has just explained, but we're going to see a lot of him in this one as he comes in behind Chris Taylor now. Really closes up the gap. Fabulous racing, this, and if you've just joined the telecast, we were saying this is the hotbed. This is the bed that we breed our new stars that are on the way up.
Oh, yeah, without any... Oh, look at that. Got you. Ooh. Get on a load of that. Yeah, really. Now you watch when he comes up into this next section, he goes through a little right-hand kink. Look where you're going instead of where you've been. See, that's the price to pay for looking over your shoulder. Now these next 3 left-handers here, he was so quick in practice through here. No, just about the same speed as the other guy, but that's the important bit there. Get the good run onto the straight. See? The difference that it makes just gives you that little bit of momentum.
So Taylor now leading Cartwright, nothing in it, sitting right in the slipstream is Cartwright. Watch him go through the fast left-hander. Taylor tucks down, Cartwright in behind him. Won't make a move there, gets up and gets pretty close now.
Whoa,
puts it up the
good
inside.
one.
It does make the move. Well, Taylor comes back though. Taylor fights back. Oh, this is great stuff.
Oh, yeah, Taylor shut the door a little bit on him there. And Cartwright was struggling to be able to stop it in time. Oh, good stuff. Look at that. That's good, really good move there on the change of direction.
No quarter arse given here.
What? Oh, look at this.
Taylor.
Now, this is Pucker 250 production racing. I mean, oh, look, you cannot... I love this class. I think it's just so spectacular and so close that it's definitely value for money.
It's quite amazing, you know, all the riders that we saw, and Peter Archer is back in 4th place in the first heat and not even in the hunt here at the moment. I guess Archer's the difference. He's back in 4th, but he's still a tad back from this fellow, Cartwright, who really is doing a swans. He's looking every time he can to where they are.
He's just looking too much at the moment. He's, you know, I guess it comes with experience and that, you know, he's only 18 years old, but good little rider.
So that's Taylor in 2nd place, Cartwright out in front. Archer closes up on Morris. Morris sits in 3rd. Archer now has a lunge at him. He's back in 4th. Gee, it's good stuff, though. That's Young. So Young's come back into the fray. They were the stars of Heat 1, but they're certainly trailing this lot this time round.
Yes, well, good move by Graham Morris. It's Archer's last ride in this production class. He's going to do the 600 street bike class, which he considers as a move up from this, which it is, and then hopefully end up getting a Superbike ride.
Well, that's great news, isn't it? So here's Morris now. He's got ahead of Taylor. Archer hunting up Taylor. So I'm not sure if Taylor's got a problem. When he lost that ground, Barry, he's just been steadily dropping back.
Well, you can't afford, you know, it's just so close, this thing. Watch here in the slipstream. Maybe he'll just, you see, yeah, they'll both get Graham Morris, I think, maybe round the outside.
So Taylor definitely got the power advantage down the straight, come out of the slipstream and takes back his position from Graham Morris. Peter Archer in behind him.
But it does look like little Cartwright. He's doing it nicely. You know, he's not getting it all out of shape or anything. And you know, if he keeps his head cool, then any kind of luck he's going to win it, because these three here are going to do him a favour, because they're going to keep fighting with one another. You see Graham Morris now. Oh, nice little move there. Oh, don't give up that easy.
Taylor's a fighter, though, is he? I mean, Morris came at him before. He got the spot back. This time Archer sticks himself underneath Taylor. So, gee whiz, he's pretty busy. He's got it happening inside him and around him.
Yeah, you just cannot have any better training than this class. It's just really the absolute best.
Yeah, it does teach you your racecraft, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, because, you know, it teaches you how to really fight with people. And when all the bikes are so similar and that, you know, just, oh, yes, gotcha. Yes, it just makes you really concentrate on where you can make up a little bit of ground. You think, right, you know, I can't afford to lose any ground here. And as you say, racecraft that's what it's all about. You know, you can be a really good rider and not have your head together as far as putting a race together in close company. And that's it, Graham Morris up the front. How's about that?
Graham Morris now in front. He's taken Armstrong, so Morris has fought back. I think he was back in 4th, maybe even 5th spot at one stage. He's now in front. Armstrong, certainly he's on, or Archer, I should say, is on the charge. Look at Archer, side by side. They come down here. Oh, this is where they test about how big they are, your brakes. But he's got them. He's got them.
Yeah, good ride.
Morris gets up under Armstrong, Cartwright. Whoa, Baz, this is a beauty.
Yeah, I know I keep on about Morris, but what you've got to appreciate is when someone's been racing for a lot of years, they have a lot of experience and they've seen all this before. So that's why I'm so impressed with Graham Morris, because he's an older guy up amongst all these young chaps that really don't realise how much it hurts, yeah? And you're obviously going to go just that little bit quicker until you get the experience of knowing, whoa, don't, I ain't giving up, he says, Cartwright.
Oh, Cartwright had a big look. Look at Morris round the outside, takes the place back, I think. Yes, he does get it too. So Morris using that guile and that cunning. Fantastic race, this. He comes back into 2nd place.
Oh, look at his drift on the back end of Cartwright's bike.
Morris takes the lead.
That was a tremendous outbraking job there. You know, he looked late, but he made Archer look like he was standing still, didn't he?
Oh, big move from Morris. Just went straight past him.
Right, now this is where the last 3 corners are so important. This is where Cartwright was really good in practice. So if he gets a good run, now watch Cartwright. Now get your head down.
Baz's money obviously on Cartwright here. Down they come down
Archer
straight again.
Archer
Archie alike.
last lap.
Armstrong now, or Cartwright I should say. What do I keep saying, Armstrong? Or Cartwright. He's back in 2nd place, challenging for the lead. It's still Peter Archer. He's hanging on like he did in Heat 1 by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, and Paul Young. Look how close.
Side by side. Round the outside. Can't be done. Yes, it can.
Bang wheels. Get up
Yes, it can be done. Mate, how about that from the outside?
Good stuff.
Gary Cartwright with an amazing move, Barry.
Yeah, really good.
Well, last lap, so it's all going to happen. Archer now, can he fight back? Can't ride Morris off. He's done some desperate stuff here. Here he goes again. Morris. Can't do it this time.
Look at Archer. This is where those last 3 corners are so vitally important when it's as close as this does. You know, watch when they go into that last bunch of 3 corners. Whoever makes a good job of it. Oh, Morris is sensational on the brakes into that.
But comes back though.
Yeah, but he just ran in a little too deep. Stop looking where you've been. Look at him.
Archer went from 3rd to 2nd. Morris went from 2nd, 3rd, back again. Wow. And out in front is Cartwright now. This is the error.
No, he's blown it.
He's gone wide. Archer underneath.
No, he's kept it on, though. He's kept it. Look at the drift. I think Cartwright's got it. You watch. It's in a slipstream.
Here they come down now. Look at this. What about this side by side? Waiting for the flag as they are going to hit the line. It looks like Archer. Yes, he got it. Well, I'm not sure about Morris and Cartwright. They were side by side. Archer got it.
Yeah, that's a shame little Cartwright, mate. Just made that mistake. But good race. Great race.
Fabulous race there from the productions. Barry, what's the finish here?
Your guess is as good as mine, Dazzle. Right, so it's Archer and just Gary Cartwright. Whoa. By what? See, he just ran, he touches it on the ground, grounds it out, runs on the ripple strips, but does an amazing job to keep it back. Look, still hammer down situation, but he just lost the good line. You see, he's out there wide, you see the bike sliding, and that's losing time. You know, losing time, he's not getting onto the straight quick enough. That's a shame, you know, he did a good job of trying to get around there quick, but you can out-quick yourself sometimes.
Great race, well done, the production riders. That partnership of Suzuki and Peter Archer, again successful race 2 from Cartwright aboard a Suzuki, Morris Honda, Young Suzuki and Free on a Suzuki. Now the overall results, interesting. Of course, Archer won the first and second, so he takes full points for Suzuki and takes the win here today. Young is second overall. Now Cartwright, Morris, both on 28 points, but Cartwright finished ahead of him in the second race, so he takes third position overall. Fifth spot, Free. Group A at Eastern Creek, the new 94 models when we return. Race 3, laps 15. The touring cars, the Group A cars, come out to play again. And boy, oh boy, have they caused a sensation around Eastern Creek today. Very big crowd in attendance. The grandstand, well, we've got half of them cheering for Ford, the other half cheering for the Holden teams. And I don't know who's the most popular. There he is, the baby-faced assassin, Glenn Seaton. Until today, had never been beaten here in this series, but Alan Jones took one off him, and then Mark Scaife took one off him. We saw a 5-lapper, an 8-lapper, and now the big one. Double points, of course, so important on the warm-up lap now. And it's all about who's conserved their tyres. Now, Jimmy Richards will start from the rear of the grid. He had that punch, you may recall, in heat number 2. He's had to change his tyres, so he will start from the rear of the grid. That's Jimmy Richards there, starting well back, so a big job to come through. But if anyone can, he can. Mark Scaife, he will start from pole. Glenn Seaton beside him. AJ will start from where he did in heat 1. Wasn't that a blinder? And Larry Perkins, it'll come from there somewhere. But just who? Well, Wayne Gardner, we've talked about saving your rubber here because it's different rules in this sort of series. I think Glenn Seaton's probably had the chance to conserve his tyres better than anybody.
Well, that's right. He did finish second in the second race, but the car looked a lot tidier around the corners. It looked like the turn-in was very, very good. And obviously he wasn't lighting the back tyres up, you know, sliding off the corners and having the tail out. And obviously it's about a three-leg series here, and he's preserving the cars and the tyres. So my money's on him, but it's going to be tough to get by Scaife. It just depends who gets the start here.
No doubt about it. Well, here's the progressive points now after the 2 races. Mark Scaife from the Commodore, 38 points. Alan Jones Falcon, 38 points. Glenn Seaton Falcon, 38 points. What about that? Larry Perkins, Commodore, 33. Bobby Pearson, Commodore, 30 points. So it all comes down to this shootout. Equal points. What a series this has been. Australia's motorsport spectacular. Big crowd, blue skies, plenty of sunshine, the Winfield Triple Challenge.
Darryl, I think a lot of people are aware or not aware, but the reason why the cars are swerving across the track here, they're trying to get heat into the front tyres mostly. They'll do a few burnouts also to light the tyres up on the rear to get some heat in them, but mainly just to get some front temperature in them so they get grip in the first corner and the second corner. From there, they basically heat up fairly quick.
You don't mind lighting them up. I saw you light them up in front of the crowd at Adelaide. It was always on the main straight. They loved it.
Well, you know, I used to do wheelies on the motorcycle when I was going to win a race or I was doing very well. So, but in cars, I was sideways up the corner and people loved it.
Look at this big crowd round Eastern Creek. They're jammed in here to see the tourists. First time out for the new package on the Falcons, and it looks good. That front spoiler's made a big difference. They're crammed in here, around the fence areas, in the grandstands. Look at that, up on the hills. Fabulous to see. Plenty of blue skies, and of course the drags come out a little later on. And boy, oh boy, don't they love them here at Eastern Creek. When the sunlight goes out, the lights come on, and the big dragsters come out and do their thing. So, ready to go. Final fling for the big tourers. Larry Perkins will be having a camera in his car. Red lights waiting for a green. Watch for AJ off the line. Can he do it? He did in heat 1. There they go. AJ won't do it this time, though. Mark Scape gets it down. AJ tucks up inside. Seat on the other side. AJ goes into second place and Mark Scape leads it round. Larry Perkins on the charge on the outside, but it's Mark Scape. Oh, Perkins, that's his view as he comes around now. Oh, this is a beauty.
Yeah, Larry's trying to go around the outside there, but it's a very difficult manoeuvre, and as you see, he got blocked out and taken wide by AJ. It's very hard to pass there. Once you've got the inside line, there's not a lot you can do. You just have to ride it out and try and slip back into the traffic flow. Riding
with the Castrol car of Larry Perkins out of the windscreen. Sitting in behind Glenn's seat, little touch of brake light there. AJ's fired up, Scapey's fired up. Oh, Jonesy made another good start from the second row. Well, you can see Scape locking them up already. It's on.
Yeah, well, Scape's pushing real hard. Obviously, he's trying to hold out Glenn. Glenn's trying to get him earlier on in the race, obviously, to try and slip by. It's going to be a tough race. I really wouldn't like to choose a winner out of these three.
Whoa,
there goes Glenn up the inside of AJ.
Goes Glenn, look at this, locks him up. He's going to do it too. No team orders here. Doesn't matter if you're the boss or not the boss. They're out here to race. Jonesy on the outside, comes around again. Larry Perkins takes advantage of the dogfight in front of him. Good stuff here at the creek.
It's going to be interesting now to see if Glenn actually can pull in Scape. He's got by AJ, and obviously he's got his head down trying to make up the ground that's lost.
Now, I did tell you about Jimmy Richards losing 20 seconds penalty because of changing the tyres. He started in 15th spot. Let me tell you, he's up to 6th. He's up to 6th, and he's in shot there. Right in behind the Dulux car. There he is. What a fantastic couple of laps from Jimmy Richards.
That's an amazing return from away from the back of the grid. Obviously, he had to get by a lot of the slower drivers, but he's done a sensational job, and he's nearly caught the front runners again, so he actually hasn't lost anything.
That's Reed in front of him, but here they come over the brow again. Scape with Jones right in the boot. AJ really fired up this time round. Said to me this morning, I want to win this series. I'm sick of coming second. That's Seaton. So Seaton is in second place. My apologies. Jonesy was that keen to get on line ball with this series. He says, I'm sick of coming second. I want to win something, and I want to win this. But Seaton has gone underneath him, and he's running second in behind Scape, right in his boot.
Yeah, Glenn's going to have a go in the next couple of laps, I'd say. He's caught up very quick. There goes Scape. He's made a mistake, but pulled it back just in time, just to hold out Glenn. That's actually lost a little bit of time, and Glenn's having another look there. It's going to be interesting. The next couple of corners, whether he can stick with it. My money's still on Glenn. He still looks the far tidier of the two.
What's that done now to Scape's tyres, though? It's twice he's had a major lock-up in the same area.
Well, if he keeps doing that, it's going to flat spot the tyres, and you get a bad vibration in the car. I mean, if you keep doing it, you will eventually wear through the canvas and have a blowout. But it's enough to still get going at the moment.
Look at the crowd in front of us. It's Holman burst forward down the main straight. Scape gets it through the left-hander again, though. Holds on. Seaton goes with him. Seaton right up beside him. Now gets up on the inside. Under brake. Scape holds him out again. Oh, great fight this. A real dog fight here at the creek. Scape throwing everything he can out of the car to keep Seaton at bay. But Seaton snapping like a hungry dog. Oh, boy. And look at Jimmy Richards. Look where Jimmy Richards is. Fourth.
Glenn's all over Scape there. In fact, he's rushed in, and it shows you the new aerodynamic package, how well it's working. In the fast corner, in the straight there, he made a lot of ground. He probably made 50 feet on skate, so you can see how strong the car is on the turn-in, and the grip level, it is working very well with this new aero package.
No doubt about that. AJ up in contention now, right up behind Seaton. Still Mark Scaife out in front with a Winfield Commodore. Lots of pressure from Ford. He had it from AJ early. Now he's got it from Seaton and the pair of them. This is where he's locked up each time. Under brakes. Seaton has another lunge at him though, but he keeps him at bay. Now he flicks it back inside, but Scaife will get the turn in there. There he goes.
In fact, Richards is actually catching this whole lot up because Scaife is actually holding the pace up with the two Falcons. Jimmy's starting to pull in from the tail end, so it's going to be really interesting. This is Larry's car now, and you'll probably see Jimmy Richards coming up pretty much on the side of him soon. It's going to be very interesting to see if we can get by Larry.
Jimmy Richards, the red car back there behind Larry Perkins. Started in 15th, worked his way up after that penalty for changing tyres. Great drive from the master, Jimmy Richards. He's not over out of this yet. Don't worry about that. Scaife now, though. Still holding Glenn Seaton out. They come down into the loop. Bang, through it goes. The Commodore looks good, but the Falcon just sits there like a rock. Jones closes up again. What a good race this is going to be. It's already been a ripper.
You can see now Glenn, he's starting to position himself. He's trying to get around, but he just can't seem to find the right place. But in doing that, as I said, the whole rest of the pack are actually catching him up. Glenn's sniffing at him, but just can't quite find the place. And if he keeps pushing Scaife like this, he is going to wear his rear tyres out and gain too much heat and lose grip. And then I think probably Glenn will go by.
Mark Scaife, great competitor. Oh, he's a gritty little bloke. He doesn't like getting beaten. He's got the lead. He's got the widest Commodore in the world to try and get round, particularly here at the creek. Down they come again now. He's locked them up here each time, and this time doesn't look too much different. Seaton comes right up behind him again now. He tries to sling himself up on the inside here. Just hasn't got the grunt to do it though.
It looks like Larry is also pulling him up as well, so it's gonna be a photo finish, I think, towards the end of this race. I really would like to pick a winner out of him.
Any one of this four, there's Alan Jones. Geez, been gritty today, Jonesy. I haven't seen him popped up as much as this, I think, since Bathurst last year.
These guys are trying extremely hard. You can tell by how much road they're using. If you watch Scaife off the end of the straight here, he's using the road and plus some right out to the ripple strip, just there. He rides right out to the grass line and back on the track. So he's pushing hard in that particular corner because that's where his downfall is against the Fords. Well, of course, he can drive defensively as long as he takes the racing line. There's no problem with that. The Fords have got to find a way around him. He knows that. He's got plenty of grunt in that Commodore. It's certainly giving away nothing down the main straight area. Jones loses a little bit now. Look at Jimmy Richards closing in now on Larry Perkins. Gee, that's been a drive from Jimmy Richards. If he doesn't even go any further, that has been a great drive. You can see Scaife now, you're right, Dazza, he is driving defensively, but the only problem with doing that is it gives Glenn plenty of opportunities to give him a bit of a push or a shunt in the rear quarter. And once that happens, it's pretty hard to hold him from spinning out. That doesn't happen in touring car racing. No, it's not done on purpose, as they say. Again, he locks him up. Seaton comes at him again there. That's a problem area for the Commodore. He's got to get onto the picks as late as he possibly can. Seaton again takes the inside line. Can't do it. Richards now all over the back of Larry Perkins. All he can see is red in the rear mirror. Just been a drive from Jimmy Richards. Fantastic. Yeah, Jimmy's all over Larry now, and I think it's only just a matter of time before Jimmy gets him. Jimmy's a very conservative and very smooth driver, so he'll get by Larry without too many problems. Now they come past the main grandstand area again. The Commodore blasts his way down to the left-hander. The crowd here a little bit stunned at the moment. They're a bit quieter this time round. It's Holden first, Ford second, and I tell you, Seaton closed right up on him again. Jonesy's losing touch just a little. Yeah, in that particular fast left off the end of the straight, you can see the Ford has a distinct advantage, particularly the higher speed corners. Obviously, you're pushing more wind over the wings, and that's where this new package helps them. It's certainly quite clear to see there is a difference there. Not quite halfway yet, so the long way for these tyres to go. As we've said, a very hot day out here. That's going to have a bearing, but it's caution to the wind now because the top three on equal points. Seaton again.
Whoa, using all the road and then some, trying to unsettle Scape. But he's unflappable, the youngster.
Yes, Mark's driving a very controlled race. Glenn's all over the back of him. All Scapey can do is just try and leave no room for him to try and get his nose inside there. That's the only way. If he keeps doing that, but locking the wheel, he will flat spot in the tyres and put himself out.
Done it lap after lap, Mark Scape. He just locked them up in that same spot. Jones has closed up again. Nothing in this. A real street fight going around the circuit here at Eastern Creek. It's now up to fourth place. Fantastic drive. Unbelievable drive, actually. He really has done a fabulous drive. He came from 15th off the grid. He's now up into fourth. He's gone past Larry Perkins. Jones goes really wide this time round. AJ has a look. He's getting pretty frustrated. So is Seaton. They're throwing everything at the Commodore. To no avail at this stage. Scape, cool as a cucumber. Ice in his veins. Oh, Jimmy Richards off. Oh, what a shame. That is a tragedy.
Larry's had a big... Richards had a big shunt there. He's at the door in, so... He's had a fairly heavy one, but he looks okay, and that's great.
Down they come down the straight again. Seaton always pulls out there, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, what he's doing, he's just trying to get some cold air over the car, keep the engine cool, have a look at the horsepower, see what difference it is without actually drafting. And obviously through this particular corner there, he's much faster, so I believe that he will have a go, if not now or a little bit later towards the end of the race, or he could get to a bit of this pushing and shoving towards the end, which is only sporting, as they say.
Sure, Jonesy gets out wide, car 19 in front of him, which is Glenn Mason. But he just tucked in again, still running third. Look at this. What a battle this has been. Fantastic stuff. Gee whiz, if this is a forerunner of the season, and we've got the Brocks to come, the Gardners to come, the John Bowers to come, the Dickie Johnsons to come. Oh, boy, what a season.
There's going to be plenty of action if it's going to be like this, particularly with another dozen cars out there that are also very, very competitive. So it's going to be a tough year and a really exciting year, and I think everyone concerned is really looking forward to it.
No doubt about that. This little puppy is anyway. 5 to go now, still a long way. Remember, that was the length of the first heat. The second heat over 8 laps. Who's looked after the tyres best? Well, I know it's not Mark Scape. He's torn his to bits, but he's still in front.
Yeah, he's doing well right at the moment, just to hold them out, but he's doing it tough on the car. That's the only problem, where Glenn's sitting a little bit more settled, not using quite as much road, using nicer line, particularly onto this main straight here. You can see he's got a bit more downforce there in the higher speed corners, and of course the corner off the main straight, he's got a lot of grip there, which is where he makes a lot of ground up on Scape.
Okay, down they come again down the straight. The crowd here absolutely absorbed in this battle. This is the first time that we've seen the 94 package on the Falcons, the new front spoiler. You can see the little pieces there that curl out at the end of the spoiler, really to great effect. A much bigger wing this time, like the Commodore's wing. And now he goes up the inside. Wayne Gardner, you've picked that. Will he get him? Leads all over him. Oh, look at this. And Jones is involved too. And there's plenty of biff and barge, but he muscles his way through the first place. That's out of the back of Scape's car. Jones comes through. Jones is going to nail him too. So it's Ford's 1 and 2 now.
Yeah, well, it was pretty easy to see where he was going to do, and he was going to have a go. Mark was struggling, and Glenn stuck his nose in there. Scape, he did try to push him, but he ran out of puff. And then AJ got through the 2 skirmishes of the couple of them, so it was great.
Say it again, Wayne.
Yeah, Glenn stuck his nose in there. Mark's got in a bit wide, tried to pull it back. Now Glenn's starting to push him out and take him wide. So he's actually purposely taken him wide, leaving him no room. Now Scape's trying to push the rear of the car and push him into a spin, but Glenn keeps his foot down and drives off out of the corner.
Unreal stuff. Oh, the Aussie touring cars, the big V8s. How good's that? Seaton worked that out over about 5 or 6 laps, and Wayne Gardner picked it spot on. Now Scapey's back in 3rd place. It's now Seaton out in front. Remember, he hadn't even lost a heat. The rest of the crowd, don't tell me how popular Glenn Seaton is here at Eastern Creek. There's thumbs up, they're standing up, and they're applauding the youngster. The baby-faced assassin. Well, he's doing a job now. Now will Jonesy take him on? That's the interesting thing now. Will AJ have a go? I say yes, he will.
I say he will as well. AJ's a pretty aggressive guy. He's got fantastic ability and a great driver, and there is no team orders there. They both go out and have a good time as long as they don't bring each other unstuck. But I think AJ will push him hard. If he pushes him into a mistake, then he'll grab it. But AJ's certainly going to try hard because he likes to win as much as Glenn does.
Well, you've got to remember this Australia's Motorsport Spectacular, the Winfield Triple Challenge. Glenn Seaton came here with a Sierra, came here with a Ford and hadn't lost a heat until today. Jones took the first one off him and Mark Scaife took the second one off him. It's been a fabulous career here in this series for Glenn Seaton. And the crowd know it, they're right behind him. AJ, gee, he'd love to get a sniff though, wouldn't he? He'd love to get a sniff. He might ride shotgun for the boss though.
Oh, he's going to have a go. I mean, that's AJ. He's aggressive and he'll try hard. But, you know, I like Glenn's style. He's nice and smooth. He's easy on the car. He's easy on the tyres. That's why he's been winning all the races up till now, bar one. So I think he's going to be pretty tough to get by him. And, you know, Glenn's a very calculated driver. As you see, whoa, there's a big sideways there. If he keeps doing that, he'll wash a lot of grip off the rear tyres.
See him soaring at the wheel, working away there as smooth as he is onto the dirt. You can see what he's throwing back. AJ now tucks in behind him again. Down they come, the crowd go up. This time the Holden's dropped well back. It's Ford's 1 and 2. I should say 1 and 30.
Actually, Glenn's car's getting a bit sideways off the corner, so he's worked the rears pretty hard. I guess probably trying to get by Scaife. But if he keeps that up, he's going to find himself in plenty of trouble. And AJ is just all over the top of him, so it's going to be real interesting. As I said, AJ will have a go. That's his aggressive type.
Yeah, I think he will too. I think I know Jonesy pretty well. As I said, he was most grateful for the fact that Glenn Seaton finally gave him a competitive car on equal terms here in Australia. And and that's the way he likes to drive it too.
Yeah, the two Falcons are in as much trouble as Scaife is now, particularly in tyre wear. It looks like in the earlier stages, the Bridgestones on the Falcons are working a little bit better on a colder temperature. But as the temperature's building on the two Falcons and the Bridgestones, then now Scaife is coming back, and he's got Yokohama, so it looks like a better quality tyre and a higher temperature.
Well, I'd say Scaife is in trouble rubber-wise, and for no reason other than the fact he drove the casings off the things, because he's just now having trouble coming to grips. He has closed the gap slightly, but he seems to have lost touch. He was holding them up, there's no doubt about that. But Seaton now opens up maybe 2 lengths on AJ. It's starting to sort itself out with a few to go. Scaife can't get back in terms with Jones. So they're starting to space themselves out a bit. Now, where's the grunt of the Commodore now? We saw it holding out the Fords down the straight. See how much he makes up here. Traffic. Seaton doesn't want to see him there.
Well, what grunt he does have on the straight, he loses in that particular fast corner. The Falcons are extremely fast there, and on brakes they're good. So it's going to be tough for Mark to catch up and actually pass. He might be able to get onto their boot lid, but that's about as far as I think he's going to get. He's struggling where he is at the moment, and you know, the two Falcons are also doing it tough because they're slipping and sliding. But you know, that just goes to show you how hard these guys are trying now.
Lap 14 they're on, so 1 to go when they come past the start-finish line. This time around, I don't think Scaife has got a chance of catching him. The big question, will AJ have a go at Seaton? He just seems to have lost touch fractionally, but then he makes it up. So he's such a cunning old thing, is AJ.
Oh, he's a wily old fox. Wily old silver fox. I think that's probably the word to say. No, AJ certainly, you know, he wasn't a world champion for nothing. He knows how to play his cards in a game like this, and he certainly will try and push hard.
Just you can't say he's a silver fox. AJ hasn't got a silver hair in his head.
Well, I think he might have, but I'm not sure what happened there.
So AJ now, he comes right up behind Seaton, almost into the last lap. It's been a fabulous series this start, and for nothing else to see the new Ford package for the year, really something special. And the Commodores and Wayne Gardner, your new team, you've got a lot of work to do because, gee, they look the business.
Yes, the Falcons have proved to be very strong today, as I said, particularly in this fast corner here. So it goes to show you that their aerodynamics is working. In the slower sections, there's not a lot in it, but it looks like the Falcons' wings are working in an advantage for them.
Well, it was a Falcon win in Heat 1. Alan Jones won that. Heat 2 went to Mark Scaife in the Commodore. So far, Glenn Seaton holding out with a final lap to go, and I think AJ might have said, well, I better just tail in here for a second. I'm not sure, but he seems to have lost that little bit of touch with Glenn Seaton now. Mark Scaife will certainly finish third, but he can't challenge. Only AJ can challenge Seaton, and I don't think he's going to do it from here.
No, it's going to be tough now. I think that's pretty much how it's going to finish as the results. They're all trying extremely hard because they're still getting sideways off the corners, but I think it's settled down. I think everyone's happy with their place they're in.
So Glenn Seaton now. Fantastic record in this Winfield Triple Challenge. In a Sierra, in a Falcon. Gee, he's been competitive. Still locking them up there. They're still trying nice and hard. Alan Jones sits in behind Glenn Seaton.
Glenn's a very talented driver, very smooth, as I said earlier. He's very calculated, and he's the baby-faced assassin, as AJ calls him.
Well, he copped plenty over in New Zealand when he put the Ford Mondeo into the wall over there of Paul Radisich, but let me tell you, it wasn't really his fault. Never mind, that was yesterday. Today he's going to win this one here. Comes down, crowd gets on their feet. Glenn Seaton, geez, popular. He's popular here in the creek. Takes Heat 3. Alan Jones second. Mark Scaife third in a beauty. Gee, that was a good race. Bad luck for Jimmy Richards. Came from 15th, got up to 4th and put the car into the wall. Larry Perkins, who we thought was involved in that, flashes over the line in 4th place.
I think by looking at that, I think the Holden guys are going to have to do some work on their performance of their car, the handling of the cars, particularly in the high-speed corners, because Glenn certainly set a precedent here.
Wayne Gardner, thanks for your help today here at Eastern Creek, and really good luck for the year with your new team. I know the whole of Australia's got their fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Darryl.
Glenn Seaton taking race 3 in this Winfield Triple Challenge Series. Double points for the Falcon. Alan Jones second to his team boss, I guess, in the other Falcon. Mark Scaife led for a long way, couldn't hold him out in the end in the Commodore. Larry Perkins and Steve Reed. That's how they finished in race 3. Now let's have a look at the overall results. Glenn Seaton once again has won this series, this challenge. What a result. Gee whiz, he's been consistent every time the Winfield Triple Challenge has come around for Falcon. Alan Jones takes second overall, Mark Scaife third, Larry Perkins fourth, Steve Reed fifth. Right, Barry Sheen is down pit side, and he's got the winner with him.
The baby-faced assassin strikes again.
Yeah, Barry, I tried very hard in that race, really. Mark had the sort of the exit speed and I had the entry speed, so I knew there was only 2 places on the track that I could get him, and that was at the hairpin at the bottom and also the hairpin around the back. And I saw my lap counter on my dash counting down, and I only had a few laps to go, so I thought, well, this is the time to have a go, and luckily we got through.
Yeah, even your car was sliding around a hell of a lot once you got past, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sliding around a lot in the back. I couldn't go any harder. I was absolutely buggered at the end, and thank God it was no more laps, because actually the last lap board, 2 laps to go, and I thought the last lap board was coming out on that, and I didn't know if I could make the last lap, but no, it's great to be able to come back here and win it 3 in a row, and it's just a good start to the Touring Car Championship, hopefully.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 out of 3. Are you happy with the car going into this year?
I suppose I really am, Barry, because we've done a lot of development with Bridgestone over the off-season and also with the new aerodynamics. So I think Bridgestone have come up with the best tyre at the moment, and that really showed today. And I just hope getting into Amaroo in the first few rounds we can really do it, because once the rest of the field get here, the HRT and also Dick Johnson, I think it's going to be a tough year.
Congratulations, 3 out of 3. You can't do better than that.
Yeah, Baz, and it's great to see Alan behind me as well to run 1-2, because he done such a great run in the first race. I got underneath him in that race, but no, it's great racing, it really is, and I think the crowds won't be disappointed throughout the year.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
There we are, Barry Sheen talking to Glenn Seaton, the winner of the Winfield Triple Challenge. We'll take a break, come back with all the drag action. Now it's going to happen. Now for the real horsepower to come out. The drag cars ready to go. Lots of categories, including David Tapp, the big top fuelers.
Fantastic, Darryl. The best field of top fuel cars ever assembled in this country, 9 of them, including 2 top-line American drivers, Tom Showtime Hoover from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and also Glenn Micros from California. Tonight's top fuel racing, Darryl, is all about the chase into the 4-second barrier. We saw that happen a few weeks ago at Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne for the first time ever. The driver was Sydney's Graham Cowan. We haven't seen a 4-second pass at Eastern Creek. Tonight should be the night.
Could be the night. Kevin Prendergast. I just love those funny cars and the Wild Bunch. I think they're fantastic, but they're only some of the categories.
That's right, Darryl, but I think you're going to have a great night. The Wild Bunch, we've got 6 of the fastest in the country, 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour action from the Wild Bunch, and top alcohol, we've got 8 of the best in Australia, dragsters, Aldards and funny cars. It'll be a great night's racing from all of the support categories.
Looks good. Let's hope we can get the 4-second run straight into top fuel action.
Yes, indeed, the huge crowd here at Eastern Creek, very enthusiastic, waiting now with no little expectation for the first pairing in the first round of top fuel. Nitro-burning supercharged race cars producing 5,000 horsepower. If you haven't seen the top fuel cars before, buckle up your seatbelts at home. These race cars provide ground-pounding excitement. And what a pairing we have first up for you. Our own drag racing legend, 13 times national champion, Jim Reed. That is him on screen. In fact, the man that's won in excess of 70 major titles around the country. And Jim Reed now looking at a career that's been spanning almost 3 decades. Okay, Jim Reed, 13 times national champion, fires up the 5,000 horsepower Winfield Racing top fuel dragster, a 300-inch wheelbase. His opponent, Glenn Micros from California, now effecting the burnout procedure. You're looking at the top view from the wing, the rear wing of Jim Reed's Winfield entry. A classic confrontation here between the American and the Australian champion.
All set now, the Californian taking on the Australian hero. They've got plenty of mumbo, these things. Wait till you hear the noise. And the whole stand of the roadway will rattle. Building up the revs, the Californian, Glenn Micros. Getting set, coming up to his mark now, taking on Jimmy Reed, the most experienced man in Australia. A lot of pride on the line here. Amazing machines. You can see the engines really working there just on the idle. Wait till they rump them up and you'll see the tyres completely change shape. They stand tall, away they go. Couldn't even start. Micros comes out, Reed comes back at him. I think Micros, I'm sure of it.
Micros a win with a 5.38 second time, 437 kilometres an hour. Jimmy Reed a little bit off the pace, 577 at only 305 mile an hour. Reed's car dropping cylinders as it was going over the top end.
Let's have a look at this action again from the top of Jim Reed's car now. Kevin Prendergast, look at this, something goes wrong now.
Yes, you can see the throttle linkage actually fall off the top half of the fuel injector. Micros just literally drove away because Reed had no throttle after half track.
Great shots, bad luck, Jimmy Reed here at the creek.
Australia's latest national sporting hero, Graham Cowan from Sydney, now fires up the Rocket Industries top fuel dragster, all 5,000 horsepower. He became the first Australian driver into the elusive 4-second barrier. Big burnout from Graham Cowan, lights up the rear wheels, and the crowd really enjoying that one. He turned in a 4.89 at Calder Park Raceway only a few weeks ago, and really has a huge following here at the venue. His opponent, all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's him on screen, in a race car owned by Jim Reed. I refer to Tom Showtime Hoover, who a fortnight ago here at Eastern Creek recorded the fastest ever top fuel time here, a 5.06 run.
There he is, Hoover, Tom Hoover, the American in the Australian car, out against the new Australian hero that just dropped 4 seconds, under 4 seconds here, first time in this country. Should be a good one, this one. Hoover in one of Reed's cars now, gets ready, still bringing him up, almost on the mark now, all set. As I said, an American and Australian car, and the Australian in the fastest car we've seen in this country. So, good matchup coming your way. All set. There's the Australian, nicely turned out vehicle. Away they go. Cowan comes out of the blocks. Hoover got a little bit sideways down. They come on! What about the boom when they came past? Fantastic stuff here. Oh, 2 big runs.
A great win there for Tom Hoover. 5:36 from the American, 404 kilometres per hour. Cowan, a 5:66. A very slow reaction time, but a 5:66 at 293 kilometres an hour. Great win for Tom Hoover.
Okay, the replay now coming your way. You can see there Graham Cowan on the right-hand side of the screen got the whole shot, was leading by a couple of metres as they reached half-track. Then the engine expires. That was probably a clutch or a supercharger. The American drives by on the outside. A great win. A little bit of luck there for him.
Okay, both cars off the start line. They're fairly even, but you can see the flame coming out of the side. They've dropped cylinders. Then just as the car gets to the 1,000-foot mark, big flash of flame. That's a supercharger backfired, very expensive, and the supercharger actually comes off the car. You can see the blower belt goes up in the wing, and then the boom, away it goes, and parts fly off onto the racetrack.
Okay, the Victorian Robin Kirby now moves forward, set for a big smoky burnout. Kirby, one of the most improved top fuel drivers in the nation. It was only a few years ago he was classified almost as the easy beat of this category. Now these days, very much a hard man to beat. His opponent also from Victoria, Charlie DeFilippo. He's been struggling just a little bit in the past few months. Nicely turned out car. Should be a good match between the two Victorians.
All set now, the two Victorians getting set for a blast-off. Away we go. Good even start out of the blocks. Oh, one's gone. Bad luck again. Gee whiz, not having too much success. The big cars here at the creek tonight. Pretty hot conditions. Not sure if that's got anything to do with it. What's the thumbs up? He's happy.
Robin Kirby goes through with a 5:62. The speed 227 kilometres per hour. Charlie DeFilippo obviously had a problem just cruising down the racetrack, but an excellent win to Robin Kirby.
Next pairing now in the 5,000 horsepower top fuel bracket. Brings together Keith Aegis, that man on screen in the Oz Nitro entry, getting the horsepower to the ground. A good burnout there from Aegis. A Victorian has enjoyed a fair bit of success in this venue. His opponent from Wentworthville in Sydney is Terry Sainty. A very unique engine on that car. In fact, the only quad cam engine in national top fuel racing.
Aegis takes on Sainty. New South Wales takes on Victoria, whichever way you want to look at it. Here we go, underway now. Both cars get away well. Well, they started to get out of the blocks pretty well, but one again has broken down, unfortunately. So Aegis goes on to win that one.
Yes, Keith Aegis taking a very comfortable win. A good time for the car, though. A 5.85 at 395 kilometres per hour. That's a personal best in the speed for Keith Aegis. The Sainty quad cam dragster, though, had a problem and has shut down. Okay, as the car leaves the start line here, they've got a tank that catches the overflow, and actually called the puke tank, and that's what it's done. It's puked all of the oil and fuel out the rear of the car, and then a bang as the blower went, and I'm afraid that's a very damaged unit.
Okay, next car now to effect a solo pass is that being driven by Camden's Wayne Messingham, the Mitre 10 top fuel entry. Nice to see Wayne back contesting the National Series, the Top Fuel Series here at Eastern Creek tonight. Was involved in a horrific crash at this venue about 2 years ago whilst driving the car in his debut at the 1991 Australian Drag Racing Series Grand Finals. The parachute failed to open. He went through the top end at 400 kilometres per hour, ploughing into a bank. Was very lucky to survive. Great to see him back, and he's a guy that's going to make a lot of the experts stand up and take notice in this sport.
Wayne Messingham getting set for his run, solo only. Reaction time here. Away we go. Seemed to take a little time to get going there. Got a little bit sideways off the line. Oh, honks his way down now. Comes past, good run.
A beautiful pass from Wayne Messingham. He waited for a clean green, but he's run a 5.28, a 5.28. That's low ET, I tell you what, congratulations. That's a very, very good run.
At 418 kilometres per hour.
Stay with us here at Eastern Creek. Top alcohol action coming up after the break.
Welcome back to Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. Nice to have your company wherever you might be watching. Now the fabulous top alcohol cars coming your way. And we've got the nation's best drivers here tonight. A classic confrontation between funny car and dragster. In this, the first pairing, bringing together the Queenslander Steve Reid in the funny car and that man, Stan Tyndall, in the dragster. Waiting now for Tyndall, New South Welshman, to effect his burnout. I think that Steve Reid, the Queenslander, is entitled to favouritism here. Good burnout, though, from Tyndall, getting plenty of rubber onto the racetrack. But Steve Reid, the Queenslander, very much the comeback king. He's had some dreadful crashes over the past 12 months, but one of the most respected drag racers in the country.
Reid against Tyndall. All set, moving up on the mark now. Good confrontation. There's two totally different cars. You saw Tyndall's car really getting the bounce up as he brought it back online. That car there we were talking about. Unusual matchup. Who's the money on? We'll soon see. Tyndall takes on Reid. Waiting, here we go. Lights go out, the blocks both cars. Fantastic stuff. Oh, Tyndall! Tyndall gets a shot. Oh, and makes it go too, Tyndall. What a beauty.
A great win there for Stan Tyndall. A 6.20. That's a great time. 6.20 at 363 kilometres an hour. Stephen Reid, a 6.42 lose at 3.53. But Stan Tyndall, that's almost a personal best on this racetrack. He'd be very, very pleased.
More State of Origin drag racing coming your way. The 2,500 horsepower top alcohol cars. And yet again, we see the confrontation between funny car and dragster. The funny car being driven by Sydney's Mick Baker, a proprietor of his own power transmission workshop in Sydney, and has been rapidly improving over the last few months. In fact, one of his best results actually being achieved at this racetrack about a fortnight ago when he made the finals of the Summer Nationals in the top alcohol category. Nicely turned out Odyssey race car. Has had plenty of experience now, but really coming to terms with his racing activities, spending the right money, getting the right engine combination together. And don't be surprised if Vic Baker performs brilliantly here tonight. The dragster, the driver is John Noonan. He's a Queenslander, one of the nicest looking machines contesting the national drag racing scene. Noonan hasn't started his assault in 1994 the way he would have liked to. Has been very consistent at this track in the past, and will be looking obviously for a big one here as he takes on the Sydney side of Vic Baker.
Vic Baker really blew him out with his burnout. Had the crowd pumped up here. Plenty of tyre smoke floating around still. Popped Dave with a little shoot to let it out of the car. Moving up the stage now, getting set. Pretty explosive when he let it go. Wow, really burnt some rubber. Crowd loved it. Noonan in Top Gun sits beside him. Looks like an unfair matchup, but this could be a ripper. Here we go. Ready to go. Both come out of the box pretty well. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, what a great run. Let me tell you, the crowd got up. They loved it. The girls loved it. He loved it. It was a beauty.
What a great race there from Vic Baker. A great win for him. A 6.32, 363 kilometres per hour for the win. The runner-up at 6.67 for John Noonan. He'd be reasonably happy with that with a new car.
Okay, truly international drag racing here at Eastern Creek tonight. The 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge. An all-star cast of the fast. Two dragsters up against one another on this occasion. Gary Phillips, the former national champion, on the right-hand side of your screen. And on the other side of the racetrack, Steve Reid, all the way from the United Kingdom, former European champion, has raced on more continents in the last 18 months than just about any other drag racer in the world. Very fast, very professional. Steve Reid, the Englishman, the reigning national champion, up against the former national champion, Gary Phillips from Queensland. Both cars now reversing side by side back into the staging area. This one is very difficult to try and pick a winner, fairly evenly matched in the performance stakes. Both dragsters that have been sorted out well and truly. The Englishman Steve Reid, Darryl, in the past has actually suffered from what's affectionately termed as tyre shake within drag racing. He gets about halfway up the racetrack and often spins the wheels and smokes them up. He had a lot of trouble with that, but now he's rectified that, and he's a man on a mission.
The Pom pulls that tonight. The crowd will love that. Gary Phillips with the Aussie banana sign on the side of it. So this is the Poms taking on Australia. They love to see this happen in any sport. With a total focus of eyes as they move them up on the line. It's the Australian car just coming up. Set to go. Visors down. Wait for this one. It's the Pom. Steve Reed taking on Gary Phillips, the Australian. The Pom nearest to camera in the blue and yellow car away. The Australian taking it away. Now the Pom comes back at him. I think the Pom got the catch. Yes, sir. Oh, the Pom got away and held it all away.
Well, what a fabulous run from Stephen Reed there. A huge wheel stand off the start line, but he kept his foot in it. Ran a 6.16. That's low ET so far. An almost perfect reaction time at 4.1. And he went over the top end, 353 kilometres per hour. That was a great race and a good example of what top alcohol is all about.
Here's the action replay now. Watch Steve Reed on the left-hand side of your screen. The front wheels are heading skyward here at Eastern Creek. He was dancing and prancing on the rear wheels. Gary Phillips was coming at him on the line, but the Pommy, he got there in the end with a great drive.
Watch it now as it leaps in the air and gets out of the blocks. Beautiful stuff.
Well, the drag racing action, sensational at Eastern Creek tonight. We now have on screen the Castrol funny car, the Castrol Achiever of Western Australia's Alan Dobson. Was the first top alcohol car to run into the 5-second barrier, and what a big smoky burnout. Around 30,000 people here at Eastern Creek really expressing their delight about that one. Dobson has ended up more than halfway up the racetrack. A fantastic effort there. Alan Dobson became the first top alcohol driver to run into the 5-second barrier. That historic occasion was at the Willowbank Raceway in Queensland whilst competing in the Winter Nationals about midway through last year. He's going to need to be at his very best here tonight because his opponent is Steve Harker from Queensland, one of the heavy hitters in top alcohol.
Thumbs up from Dobson. Tell you what, he's not bad at reverse, bringing it back. He had to bring it back halfway down the racetrack. And was right on line, the Castrol car. Didn't the crowd love his burnout? Just filled the place with tyre smoke. Harker's car beautifully prepared. Look at the way they turned out these machines. Incredible. Here we go. Both out of the blocks, even money this time round. Dobson in the Castrol car. Oh, booms past us. The crowd go up. Gee whiz, what a run from him. Blew Harker off the track. No doubt about that.
Yes, another fabulous run from the Castrol funny car. Goes through for a win with a 6.2-second time, 357 kilometres per hour. Steve Harker obviously had a mechanical problem, shut the car down. He ran a great reaction time with a .47, but in the end it was worth nothing because the car broke.
More from the drag races here at Eastern Creek when we come back.
Racing's wacky wild bunch, the entertainers of this sport, the supercharged door slam and sedans. Now coming your way, the HQ Holden you saw on screen a moment ago, the fastest HQ Holden in the world. Not hype, very much a fact. And the man to do battle against the HQ Holden of John Zapia is, of course, that driver on screen, Bert Williamson. Magnificently turned out car, Ford EA, powered by a 540 cubic inch Keith Black engine. A real performer, and this one will go right down to the wire. Just watch the HQ Holden blister the quarter mile here at Eastern Creek. Nice to see the Wild Bunch cars back here. Tonight, heads-up start conditions, simply meaning if you haven't seen drag racing before, both of these rocket ships will leave the launching pad simultaneously on the green light.
Here we go, my favourite cars, the Wild Bunch. They're great. John Zapia from West Australia. Doesn't this thing line up? Wow, it got him going. Plenty of huff and puff in this thing. Bert Williamson, ready to take him on. He looked good too when he come out. Both snorting, both raring to go. And we're about to see it happen. Here we go. goes after him. Zapier gets sideways, almost a touch. Zapier, oh, what about that? He went this way, that way. Unbelievable run from Zapier, and look where Gat finished, right up his tailpipe. Oh boy, the Wild Bunch, they're out to play.
That was one of the most remarkable drag races I have ever seen. Bert Williamson on the left-hand side of your screen, very twitchy out of the starting block. Zapier now skating all over the racetrack, and you can't get much closer together than that. They were separated by absolutely nothing. If I hadn't have been here, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yes, it certainly was. I mean, that's one of the races that you can put down in history. How these guys never touch, I never know. I mean, it is literally millimetres between them. Great driver control on both drivers concerned, but what a race.
And the crowd roar tells the story. Emerging from pit lane is none other than the legendary Victor Bray. You're watching his car there, the 1957 Castrol Chevrolet. This guy is without question one of the most popular drag racers in the country and world famous for his big smoky burnouts. He'll effect a burnout here that will probably run the length of the straight here at Eastern Creek. Bray gets the foot into the bucket, plenty of horsepower there. He keeps it going. He keeps it going up the main straight here, up the quarter mile at Eastern Creek. And the audio, the crowd going berserk. They love this guy. And the place resembles an Indian scouting party at the moment. There's smoke signals and they're going everywhere. Reversing back now at Victor Bray. I was just about to say that Victor Bray has a tough opponent here, none other than Ben Gatt, former national champion, who hails from Sydney. So once again, Darrell Eastlake, State of Origin drag racing, two beautifully turned out cars, the Chevrolet driven by the Queenslander Victor Bray, and that brand spanking new Ford Falcon of Ben Gatt from Sydney.
Well, it's almost the GMH and Ford battle again, isn't it? Gatt, Ford bound, and of course my favourite Chevy. It's a 57 model Chevy, Victor Bray's car. But what about the way he lit the place up? I mean, the crowd here, they were stopping for more, and they're going to get it in a second. Ben Gatt, two big champs here, two heavyweights coming on the line. The 57 Chevy, the beautifully prepared Ford. That's the shot too, on top of Victor Bray's Chevy. So you'll ride with him. We'll see that in the replay as they come up the stage now. Victor Bray, doesn't he just entertain the crowd? And Gatt, he'll want to steal his thunder tonight. He knows the crowd's right in behind Bray. And Gatt will get the Ford off the line as quick as he can. This will be a beauty. Away they go. Bray, that's Gatt. Look at Bray. Bray coming home. Yay. One big one for Bray. Oh boy, the Chevy, it's on fire tonight. Goes down the quarter miler in big style. Victor Bray and the 57 Chevy. He's a legend.
Victor Bray certainly is. A 7:21. That's an excellent time for Victor. 316 kilometres an hour. Ben Gatt, on the other hand, ran a 9:16. He had a red light. He was automatic lose, but there was no stopping Victor Bray. He just powered through for the win.
Okay, let's ride now with the winner of that one, Victor Bray. As Kevin Prendergast said, his opponent, Benny Gatt, red-lighted. And all Victor Bray needed to do was get to the other end of the racetrack to take the win, but always the showman, Bray. He got the horsepower to the ground, and just listen to this big Chevy. Next pairing now on the racetrack for the Wacky Wild Bunch. Les Winter, Darrell Eastlake's favourite car. The Chevrolet all the way from Queensland. One of the real performers is Les Winter. His opponent, John Payne, also from Queensland. Reversing back side by side on the left-hand side of your screen, John Payne has performed very well over the last 6 months, particularly well in the recent State of Origin drag racing series, the Corvette entry, and just look at that race car. Darrell, you've got a smile on your face like a carpet snake in a foul house.
I love it. It's a 55 Chevy. I call it the fridge. It's big, it's square, and it's white. But can it motor?
Let's hope it's not defrosted for your sake.
All set. Johnny Payne looks good, turned out too in the Corvette. So once again, Chevy power goes here. This one's a 55. Who wants the fridge go? Watch the fridge go. It's a ripper. Payne comes up now. This will be another magic run. Here we go. Oh, what about the fridge? It got airborne as it took off. Payne's going to get the money, though. The fridge comes back through Winner, can't get it. He went up in the air, the Frenchman, he came off the line, but Payne just got the power down and honked him. He wiped him tonight.
Another great race from the Wild Bunch. John Payne, there was no stopping him. 7-1-2 in the ET. A fairly straight run for that car. Les Winner a little bit all over the track off the start line. He takes a 7:26 lose at 302 kilometres per hour.
Drag racing action at its very best. Eastern Creek, stay with us.
Eastern Creek Raceway, the Top Fuel cars make their way back to the drag strip. The horsepower set to unleash one more time. Tom Showtime Hoover from Minneapolis in Minnesota has made a successful transition from funny car to Top Fuel drag racing, that's for sure. Oh, look at the burnouts from both of them, very spectacular. Hoover's opponent will be Robin Kirby from Victoria, one of the most improved drag racers in the country, and a guy certainly capable of an upset here. Waiting now for the two Top Fuel cars to reverse back down to the staging area. You're looking at Robin Kirby, the Nitro Flames now standing out on that machine. Hails from Kangaroo Flats in Victoria. Robin Kirby, a personal best at this racetrack of a 5.50 run, whilst on the other hand, Tom Hoover at the Summer Nationals just a few weeks ago at this racetrack recorded a blistering 5.06. So on that score and that score alone, I guess the American is entitled to favoritism. He's already posted a fine win here tonight. That was in the first round against Sydney's Graham Cowan. And this one should be a cracker.
This is what the crowd have come to see. And they're bolted to the seats, I'm telling you. They're all over the rails here. They really love these monsters. They make the noise. The attitude of the cars, the way they just leap into the air off the blocks. The American Tom Hoover against Robin Kirby from Victoria. There's Kirby. Both machines immaculate the way they're turned out here. So the mechanics just having a final look. As we've said, they are developed to the nth degree. You cannot develop an engine any more than these. Boy, oh boy, when they let them go, anything can happen, and it has tonight. Eastern Creek coming alive, big crowd, huge crowd here. Beautiful night, perfect conditions to race. And away we go, both out of the box well. Hoover goes, he's left it, Hoover's motor's gone out. Oh, the engine, the fire died on the American Hoover. Robin Kirby blasted his way over the line. The Victorian will take it. Bad luck for Hoover. The lights went out for him.
Yes, they certainly did, Daryl. The win of 5-7-1 of Robin Kirby. A great wheel stand off the start line by Tom Hoover. Great reaction, but obvious an engine problem. The engine shut down. Kirby, in the meantime, got very close to the centre line, but he went right through for a great win.
Looking at it one more time, Robin Kirby getting the front wheels up on the off the ground. He went very close, as Kevin said, to crossing the centre line. Hoover stopping now, and Kirby really very consistent. We've seen this happen from him before, and down he goes.
Set again now. You watch the American car, the red car of Hoover. Watch him come down now. Now watch the top right-hand corner of your screen. Carefully now when it goes, and whooshka, there it goes, the rockets. Ha-ha, fired them up in the air. Plenty of height there from the rockets.
A big burnout from the Californian, Glenn Micros, who in the United States is one of the most respected funny car drivers in the business. Jim Reed, 13 times national champion, lights up the back tires on the Winfield Racing Valvoline dragster. A great confrontation here between two of the world's best. Jim Reed has a personal best at this racetrack of a 5.14. He'll be looking to go better here now. The headwind these cars were running against in the first outing tonight has now died down. The air temperature is almost perfect. They don't like the humidity of these nitro burning cars. And this is a pairing we've become accustomed to seeing in drag racing at the highest level. Glenn Micras, one of the top gun American racers, up against the most respected drag racer in Australian history, Jim Reed. Well, Darryl, Glenn Micras, the American, was able to post a victory on Jim Reed earlier tonight. Reed will obviously be looking to make amends here in front of his home crowd, and they are going to be riding in that cockpit with him.
Not about that. You look at Reed. He had his mechanical problems first time round, the flames belching out. As the sun has gone down now and the night lights have taken over here at Eastern Creek, you really see these things like they are. They're big, hairy beasts. They're powerful. They spit out flame and they go really, really quick. So Reed, mechanical problems with Micras first time round. Beautiful evening here. Big, big crowd in attendance. And this will be the matchup, or one of them they've waited for. Reed just couldn't get it together first time round, and the Californian just stripped him. Get ready for this time. Here we go. Reed a lot quicker this time, though. Reed the Australian. Oh, he's done it again. A big blow up from Reed. Oh, it just lit up. There was a fireball, an absolute fireball. There's the crew, the crowd. Have a look at this. It's still on fire for Reed. Coming down, and that is a lot of money and a very scary moment for Jim Reed. He's been through it before, but you'd never get used to that.
He wants out of the race car, and an unexpected on-board barbecue there for Jim Reed. He got the business done, a total engine detonation right on the line.
Reed is out. Look at the crowd, though. The crowd just watched that. He says, I'm okay. He wants to get the fire out. He's calling to the marshals, get there and put this thing out. Oh, boy, he's been on the fastest fire yet we've seen in a long, long time. Jim Reed, what a moment for him. Kevin, you never get used to that.
No, you certainly don't. That's the scariest thing. Now, let's take a look at this off the start line. Both of the cars left perfectly. Reed ahead by a good car length. A great run, and just as they got to the light, have a look at that fireball. That is very expensive and, of course, very dangerous. In that sort of circumstances, you can actually burn the tyres off the car. Looking at it again, perfect runs all the way down. Take a look at that. Very dangerous. You can, as I say, deflate the car and actually burn the tyres off. He's lucky the chute stayed intact, and the times, both 5:20, but Jimmy Reed, very dangerous and very spectacular.
Okay, another look at this remarkable incident at Eastern Creek Raceway. Reed got the whole shot. Brilliant reaction time right at the top of the quarter mile. Bang, up she goes. It looked like Darling Harbour on New Year's Eve. The fireworks were flying. Jim Reed has escaped one of the worst incidents you'd ever hope to see or wouldn't want to see in top fuel racing.
Well, you can talk about all of the expense about this, but what about the danger? What about the guts of these guys to sit on such a volatile piece of equipment? Look at that flame. The crowd just didn't know what had happened, and Reed showed so much courage to get there to the end. Jim Reed really on fire tonight in more ways than one. Milton 80 at the end of the strip talking to the man himself.
Jim, you're always happy when you win, but I guess that's the way racing is. Anybody pulls up with a dragster on fire, dripping oil, looking
something
for
else.
the fire, and it
something else though. Every time I race Glenn Micras, something goes wrong.
But you beat him.
Well, there you go.
Let me tell you,
she was trucking. That sucker was trucking. It threw oil under the wheel. It was heading for the wall.
Next pairing in this round of Top Fuel. The crowd here at Eastern Creek, well and truly alive. A psychedelic mass of colour, the racetrack. Melbourne's Keith Aegis in the Oz Nitro entry makes his way into the burnout area. His opponent will be Sydney Sider, Graham Cowan, the 4-second man. Pretty mediocre burnout from Keith Aegis. A big burnout is not necessarily good. It's up to the driver's own beliefs as to exactly what he wants to do, depending on the combination he's dialed in with the clutch, for example. We've been talking about the volatile nature of these race cars throughout the evening. Certainly the supercharger and the clutch are the two areas most vulnerable to detonation. It often occurs at the top end of the racetrack. Keith Aegis' biggest win here at Eastern Creek Raceway was the very important Nitro Championships meeting last year. He's capable of doing it. Graham Cowan, he was the first man to run into the 4-second barrier. Conditions here at Eastern Creek are pretty good now. It's not impossible that the Rocket Industries car, the yellow one over on the other side of the racetrack, could deliver us the first ever 4-second pass here at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, that 4-second pass, gee, an elusive target, but an immaculate run needed. But as you've said, conditions are pretty good.
Yeah, they were facing a fairly hefty headwind at the start of racing tonight. That has now died down. Air temperature pretty good. Cowan removes the glasses.
Bit late to be cleaning the specs, I would think.
One of the very good things about drag racing, Darryl, is the way the drivers get their family involved. This is really a family sport in every sense of the word. And Graham Cowan has an absolute cast of thousands down there behind him. Both of his sons, they're all part of the action. And it was very emotional down at Calder when he ran the 4-second pass, I can assure you.
Let me tell you, you want a brother or a father that was a banker, wouldn't you?
Budget not a problem for Graham Cowan.
Okay, lined up. Aegis in the beautifully turned out black and pink machine. Cowan in the yellow machine. 4 seconds at Calder. Can he do it here in Sydney? Can he do it? The crowd have waited, and gee whiz, they've been terrific tonight in their thousands. As we said, perfect night here at Eastern Creek. Packed to the rafters and plenty of drama trackside. Ready to fire up. Here we go. Away they go. Aegis gets away. Cowan. Oh, the fire died. No 4 seconds tonight. Aegis though went on with it. He's done his run. Oh, it might be a 44-second run tonight.
Yes, Graham Cowan there. It smoked the tyres immediately off the start line. The car didn't even move. It just burst into tyre smoke, almost like a burnout. In the meantime, Keith Aegis cruises through for a 585 at 380 kilometres per hour. But that's it. There certainly won't be a 4-second run from the Cowan machine tonight.
Replay here. Watch for Graham Cowan on the green light. Overpowers the track. Too much horsepower. They may have been looking for the 4-second run on that occasion, and Cowan just stayed there wheel spinning. In the meantime, it's the Victorian that blasted through.
Yes, if you look at it closely, the car actually just starts to move forward and then immediately into tyre smoke. That comes because you've obviously got a lot of horsepower there, but the clutch combination was wrong, and that was the result. Too much horsepower to the back wheels immediately.
Okay, final top fuel run coming your way in the 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge from Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. And the Californian, Glenn Micros, is the man that's going to finish the program off with a solo pass. Obviously, he has had lane choice on this occasion, believes that the left-hand side of the racetrack is going to provide him with his best chance of turning in a sensational time. If we're going to try and get into the 4-second barrier for the first time at Eastern Creek, in real terms, this is the last opportunity tonight. Micros has got the car dialed in very nicely. Hails from California, and it won't bother him one iota, the fact that he's on his own out there. He's a totally focused racer, very professional, very serious about it all, and he'll know, Darryl Eastlake, exactly what it's going to take to do it.
No doubt about it. He'll be pretty pumped up too, last run of the night, but I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody connected with the Winfield Triple Challenge, Australia's motorsport spectacular. It's been a great day. The tourers were fantastic. The production bikes, the Superbikes, really has been into Sydney. Thank you for turning out in your thousands. We've had a big crowd here. It's been a tremendous day's action. Here we go, the final run of the night. Glenn Micros from California. He's trying desperately to do what the Victorians have done down there. They've had a 4-second run. We want to see it here. Last chance. Set to go, there we go. Micros lights it up. Oh, there we come. Looks pretty good at this stage. Oh, the fire went out. The lights went out for Micros. But let's have a look at the time.
A 5:21, 5:21 at 403 kilometres per hour. That's consistent with his earlier times. A great run, but certainly not enough in there to go anywhere near the 4s.
Well, Glenn Micros, it's all in one piece, and you ran a 5:21, which is low ET. The meter. Guess the money's all yours.
Well, thank you very much. I think we ran a little quicker through the blower belt by probably 1,100 feet. It just hit the head to dash. We figured we could run probably 15 or so anyway, give people a show. I mean, that's what people came to see, and we figured we'd give them what we could.
Don't think you let them down.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations, Glenn Micros.
Thanks.
A very happy Glenn Micros and a very happy crew, as Glenn did take the money in the top fuel category with a time of 5.228 seconds. Other winners tonight, Steve Reed in the top alcohol, while it was Queensland's John Payne who edged out Victor Bray in the Chevy. Don't believe it. That's the Wild Bunch category. And as the sky lights up, I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge. I look forward to your company again But until then, it's goodbye from Nine's Wide World of Sports.